storage along with it. I'm not really sure how that's gonna, what all he's gonna do
Hmm.
with that. He's got so much extra. What about you?
Yeah.
What about?
Well, see, here's the thing. I'm running out of physical media to store on it because they don't make much physical media anymore. It's like you get one or two discs a month now. That's why I'm really
Yeah.
debating is it worth keeping that alive or not? Because and I've been having issues with my Zapiti. I mean, I almost
Oh,
call Don and be like, hey, let's hook me up with a revolution here.
You want our
I'm getting
evolution? I
kind
can
of
definitely take care of that
yeah.
for you.
See, now
so
that's
you
Because
know
a
what?
Did
thing
you?
where
So you know what, guys? We've been live for the last 30, 40 seconds, but I just let you guys keep talking. So let's get the show started.
Look, this is what we do in the background. Everybody that's tuning in, we're constantly talking home theater, constantly talking everything. So welcome everybody. I wanted you guys to get a preview of what we do backstage here, and exactly how we're constantly talking about stuff. But welcome to the 27th episode of the Home Theater Hub. We got a full panel of guests here. Returning, Mr. John Anthony. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me again. I'm
Yeah.
mainly here to hang out with Matt. Haven't seen him in a while.
Well, I feel real privileged now. Thank you for that.
Oh boy.
I-
Mr. Ike, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing good. How about yourself? How's everyone doing?
We're here. I'm looking forward to this episode. Also, we got a good friend of I consider him a good friend of mine in the home theater space, Mr. Matt. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing, Don?
Good, good, good. We appreciate you joining the show. Just a wealth of knowledge over here. You guys are going to see that the transition that Matt has taken along his journey today. So definitely look forward to sharing that with you. Paul, how are you, sir? Thanks for joining us
doing
again.
pretty good. I'm gonna have to get really close to the mic so I can sound half as manly
I
as
know,
Matt over
right? I
there.
need
Like,
to
hold
switch it.
on. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Matt, yeah.
I know I'm looking for the EQ button over here. I can't find it.
Like, I need to bump my bass up about 20
Matt,
dB on that.
Matt is hitting
To
like
catch up.
10 hertz right now.
I know, man.
Oh man,
Subsonic.
Turn the
I'm
low
doing
shelf
pretty
on.
good. I'm building my new NAS to transfer over to do RAID and double my storage because I've ran out of storage at the 60 terabyte frame. So now I'm gonna double that, and with the ability to even double that in the future if I need. So I'll have a 113 terabyte and be able to go up to like 240 with a simple expansion and a SATA adapter card. So all is good in that, but it is going to take a long time to transfer
That's
to
an
60.
8 bay you have, right? Is that an
Yeah, the
8
one I
bay?
have is an 8 bay
And
native.
can you add two more? Can you add like two more extension and that would make it 16 bay total or?
I can add actually more than that even. I can add two more, either 8 bays or two more 16 bays. It
Whoa.
Yeah, so
That's like 32 more
it's
bays.
yeah, it's a commercial. It's is
Wow.
without the only difference between what I have right now and a full-fledged commercial is like I don't have dual power supplies. I don't, I'm not running dual CPUs and just a bunch of stuff for, if Google has a NAS, they don't want it to go down ever. But me, I'm like, well, I want it to work forever. But, if the power goes out, I don't have a secondary power run from another power company.
Uh,
Stuff like that. I'm like,
So what
yeah,
about you,
whatever.
Matt? What is your prime media player or storage solution that you're using for your theater slash websites, all that stuff like that?
So primary is 100% Kaleidoscape. It's been like that for a few years. Made the transition over from the ripping. I was doing Plex and a massive NAS many moons ago, but yeah, I made the transition. Yeah, it was a really interesting transition because I was anti Kaleidoscape for the longest time. I was like, no, Kaleidoscape, no, too.
Yeah,
And
once
then,
you get to the convenience, I mean,
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
and you get past that first hurdle,
yeah,
yeah, it's just
mhm,
there's so much convenience because yeah, I'm going to be
right,
spending several days working on that, you know. I mean,
yeah,
Mhm.
so
yeah. It's
it's
just a setup, and maintaining a NAS is very. It's not only maintaining a NAS, but maintaining a NAS that is primarily a media server. The level of maintenance is it's really high. Now, if you like it, if some people like enjoy it, I was definitely one of those folks. I really
Mhm.
enjoyed it. I mean, go for it. But yeah, if it's something that you're not really like, I don't have the
and
time for that, or
I do it for other things as well. So
so
that's
yeah,
where
no, that's a huge, huge category.
that's the
Yeah.
big draw for
Mhm.
me why I'll never uh, it would almost have to be given to me to go any other
Yeah.
route because I'm already using this for work stuff. So
Mhm.
I'm just spending more and doing more space to also have media onto it. So it's
Oh yeah,
I'm
the media is
already
a
having to
small
do
piece of the
it.
pie.
So
Oh yeah,
yeah, so
definitely. Yeah, like
it's like
especially if you have like surveillance cameras that you can
yeah,
save data
yes,
to, and
exactly.
run.
That's exactly.
There are a lot of
Yep,
reasons
I
to
have
have a
all
NAS.
that stuff on here.
Mm.
Yep.
Hmm. Yep.
Exactly. So if I'm already doing it, I might as well just add a few. Now, granted, you wouldn't need 100 terabytes for that other stuff. You can
Mhm.
get by with probably like one 20 terabyte
Yeah.
drive, but it's like I'm doing
A
all the
lot more.
work, so
Yes.
might as well, add
Might as
104
well.
terabyte, and you
Yep.
know,
Yeah, I keep fighting it, because I just have the expandable drives. I keep saying that the extra $4,000 to $6,000 that I'm going to spend on the NAS, because I need at least an 8 bay, so that's at a minimum. So I would say I'd have to go 12, and then I don't think that it's just going to add. It's just not going to add to my experience, right? It's not going to change anything.
yeah.
I'm going
If
to
you
view
don't
the
do
content.
anything else, yeah, with work
Mhm.
wise or any of
Yeah,
that stuff, yeah, it's. But it is nice to, I have a full backup of my personal PC, my iPhone, and I'm talking full images, all my
Hmm.
photos, all that stuff. I
Mhm.
mean, endless. I'm not paying a monthly fee for
cloud
any
storage. Yeah.
cloud services
Yep.
whatsoever. It's just when I'm home, it's going. Bloop.
Yeah, but
So
but but before we go into the weeds, let's just give a quick shout out to people in the chat. So reach out from Saskatchewan, Giles. Let's see who else do we have. We have Ariel. We have Casey. Thank you guys for joining
Yeah.
us
Thank you
today.
guys for joining.
What's up,
Uh,
brothers?
the real manager of Blair Hi-Fi Performance is in the chat too, Miss Jamie.
Mhm.
Oh, did I miss that?
Jamie, hi,
There you
Yeah.
honey.
go.
Jamie. How you doing, Jamie?
Hello, Jamie.
But I haven't talked to Jamie for a while. Hopefully you had a great Mother's
See
Day.
Big.
I
Yeah.
appreciate everything that the hospitality when I came to your guys' house a long time. It's been almost 3 years ago now, right, Matt?
Yeah,
3 4
yeah,
years
yeah.
ago.
Right around two
It's
and a half. Yep.
been quite some time, but
Hmm.
I know you had the theater up and running then, and then after I left, no, actually, you were in the process of changing seats at that time when I came. Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so you were in the process of changing the seats, and then after that, there was a full dismantle, and I'm anxious to hear about what's going on now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So.
Yeah, lots of fun. Lots of fun. Yeah, yeah. Full dismantle. Yeah. Well, once we ready for that deep dive, yeah, there will be a lot to get into.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, Paul, just want to jump in with you real quick. Scott and Kat aren't in the chat right now, but I think you made the track up there to Scott and Kat's house for Bass Brings Us Together, right?
yeah, I experienced the 153 decibel
Wow.
home theater,
What?
which it is. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I will tell you, I will call it Cat and Scott from now on. Cat
Okay.
was an amazing host. She was making sure everybody was, hey, how you doing? Do I need, I mean, it was amazing. And then of course, everybody was talking shop and tech and stuff like that. But
Mm.
uh I mean, it was an amazing, fun. It was probably hands down the funnest time I've had at a home theater experience, and
That's great to hear.
I'm not even joking. I mean,
But was it because you guys
other than
was
my
it because you
own,
guys couldn't hear
but
anything that was being said? Any of the bad jokes?
yeah,
Your eardrums were blown out, so the bad
yeah.
jokes didn't land nothing. So you had fun.
But all my fun parties weren't really like, oh, check out my home theater. It's usually just come and have a party, and I'll play a movie, and we'll play games and stuff like that. And I recalled why I got Street Fighter instead of Mortal Kombat. God, I suck at Mortal Kombat.
So you got your ass handed to you, huh?
Oh man, I'm like, nope. I just never could get this whole nope. I
Please
was
tell
like,
me,
Spam it
Cat.
down A,
Please
man.
tell me,
Spam
Cat
it
was
down
the one
A.
beating you in Mortal Kombat. Was it Cat beating you?
no, I was just no one. I don't even know if anyone else went in there, but I'm a little geek, so I went in there and was
Oh,
like, oh
okay.
yeah, I gotta play some games, and everyone else is upstairs, and I probably drank at least 20% of their beer. Like,
So that's why it was so fun.
yeah, they were like, did he even make? And the funny thing is, it's like they underestimate this little guy. I'm a little guy. I'm like, we ended up going to visit another buddy downtown Chicago, and then went to a brewery, and then this guy doesn't know how to hold back. He poured like a 4-shot vodka and orange juice, and I was like, whoa. I was like, hey, I've been drinking all day already. I don't usually do shots after that. So we drank one, and he poured himself like a 6 or 7 shot, and I was like, good God. And then a couple minutes later, he goes to pour another one. He's like, nope, 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 we are done with that. And he poured another large shot. We went to a brewery downtown Chicago, or not downtown, but like outside out in an industrial area of like downtown Uniani, I think is what it was. And man, by the time we got there, this buddy was just, so I went with a friend of mine, McCoy, and he had a friend, Brian. I mean, that guy was passed out in the Uber before we even got there.
Wow.
I was like, well, that's what happens when you drink a whole
When you drink a fifth of
handle
vodka
of
by
friggin'
yourself.
vodka, like in 5
Yeah.
minutes, like it's gonna catch up to you. And we
Yeah.
were fine. We got back at the hotel probably around 1:30, and got up probably around 8 o'clock and headed back home the next day.
It sounds like that's the reason why I don't go out on New Year's, because I call that amateur night, right? That's when everybody gets tore up and all that
Man,
stuff
yeah.
like
But
that.
back to the theater was amazing. There was 2 demos. There was the standard, like, hey, this is how we watch movies. It was amazing. I mean, it's whenever you experience so many, it's hard to explain, because it's like, well, if it's good, then it's, if you've already experienced good or great or ideal or perfect, well, okay, yep, okay, that's how it should be. And it's like, so it's hard to explain that. And then the bass, yeah, if you've not experienced that, yeah, it's
It brought you back to your car audio days, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It was like, okay, yeah. I honestly thought, I was like, well, maybe it's gonna have more like airflow or something's gonna be different. But it was, yeah, exactly like you said. It's like, okay, it brought me back to my car audio days. It wasn't, and again, I've experienced 180 decibels, so but I was like, wow, that's crazy to have in a home. But
Yeah.
and there was definitely people, you could tell the people that had never experienced that kind of dB, like they were just like, oh my, I mean, they were like, oh my God, like everything, like, what is happening here? It's like parts are moving that I didn't know moved.
Got that brown note going.
Yeah, exactly. So,
brown
but yeah, the 2-channel setup was really great. The home theater was great, but the hospitality and fun, was so outstanding. It nerfed the gear and even the base
That's great to hear.
I
Yeah.
experienced personally.
That's
I was just
awesome.
like, man, this is like a party that I would have, and it was a great time. And there was lots of people there. So
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear because I really wanted to go, but I just had too much going on with work. Scott actually extended an invite to me, even though he already had a full house, and I unfortunately just couldn't make it. I
toward
really
the
did want to go.
end of the show, I will go through the story of my name badge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
You did post that to the Home Theater Hub Facebook chat. So yeah,
yeah.
so we'll have to dive into that a little bit. But Matt, you're the guest of honor, and I want to introduce you a little bit more. So Matt is actually uh, the owner, founder of Blair Hi-Fi Performance Solutions, and Matt he's a dealer. He's a home theater installer. We're going to get into a little bit of some builds that he's done, and then we'll also talk about how you can reach out to him to purchase gear, or possibly if you're in his area, possibly reach out to him to do an install for him. So Matt, I actually stumbled across Matt on YouTube. So he's got a YouTube channel. Not he doesn't pursue this channel as much anymore, but I tell you what, I just like Chris from My Home Theater, Matt had a build on here that must have had like 20, how many, 20 or 30 episodes of your build or something like
It's about,
that.
it was right around 20.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I binge watched those, and I actually binge watched those one night, and it took me a while. I started watching them, and this is when I was looking at how to build my theater and everything else. So you definitely were an inspiration for that. I'm going to share this screen here so that we can look at Matt's YouTube. Like I said, he's not posting to this a whole lot anymore, but I mean,
A couple times a year.
just going through his build, his his build thread and stuff like that. It was definitely valuable for me to learn exactly like how he was hanging drywall and how he was doing double stud and whatever else he did at the time. I can't remember, but take us through your journey in home theater a little bit, Matt. Give us a little story about yourself.
Ooh, the home theater journey started back in 2005 when I strolled into a Circuit City and saw home theater in a box that I could actually afford back then. It was $1. It was $199. I was a college junior, and to me that was gold. I said, $199. That's half a paycheck. Let's do it. So I brought it home. I brought it home, set it up. I mean, I taped the speaker wires to the walls in my room. I had an apartment with my roommate at the time. And so I taped this first time ever installing anything speaker related. So I got masking tape, taped it to the side walls, had my left, center, right after reading the instructions very carefully. I put the rear surrounds on either side of my bed, which was centered in the room. And I played The Matrix on DVD for the first time. And I fell in love. Like it blew my mind. It blew my mind. So the pursuit never ended after that. From that, I ended up buying a house and then put two theaters in there. One was my main theater. The other one was a dedicated gaming room. And then I found that the gaming room had better performance than the main theater. I wondered why, and it just turns out that HTIP that I had in my main theater, it just didn't compare to the stuff that I had purchased afterwards, which was towers. Back then, I didn't understand much about theater other than what looked cool. I didn't understand like tweeter quality, driver quality. So I actually had significantly better gear in my gaming room. So I'm playing Gears of War, and I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. And I'm going to watch a movie. I'm like, this is somewhat lackluster. So then I stumbled on AVS Forum, and I couldn't believe there were other people like me in the world who just were crazy about home theater, just crazy about it. So spent hours on there, and then then just started iterating and iterating. And then my wife and I, we got married. We built this house that we're in now. And item number one on the list was a soundproof theater. Now, this is before I started like our company, Blair High Performance Solutions. Well before that, this is 2014. So I know it has to be soundproof, because I remember one time, this is shortly after my wife and I got married. I was watching a movie about 2 a.m. in the morning, and my wife came down. She said, "Matt, can you please turn that down? I'm trying to sleep." And me being, I mean, I'm a newlywed. I'm not used to having to turn anything down. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is not sustainable. Having to turn down, I love my audio. It's not sustainable. So then I started looking up soundproofing. Then I found a section on AVS about soundproofing. I was like, wait a minute, other people want to do this too. And so I just kept researching and researching. So after we actually we broke ground on this house, built it up, it took 9 months, which was longer than expected, but it was good. It gave me a chance to save my coins. And then after everything was finished, we started building this theater. So it's soundproof, triple drywall on clips and channel. I want to shout out Jeff Parkinson, Big Mouth in DC. He was instrumental in helping me getting this theater up and running. There's so much that I didn't know before he helped me that I know now. It's unbelievable. I mean, when I say instrumental, it literally wouldn't exist without him. So I definitely want to give him a shout out. So we did the soundproofing, the clips and channels, and it's really effective. I mean, there's this furnace and hot water heater immediately behind the theater. Can't hear anything. There's duct work on the left side and contained inside a soffit. Nobody knows when the HVAC is on. Nobody knows when the water heater blower is going. There's a rack that powers our smart home that is right outside the theater entrance. Once you close that double door with the airlock, you don't hear anything. So these are things these were all requirements when we first started building. Now, 2015, so between 2014 and 2015 is where I started posting the videos on the build. That's 2014. I started my YouTube channel back in 2008, but I was posting my theater stuff back then, like me discovering towers and my flat panels. Then I went into projection. But so I started getting a lot of messages of people asking me to help them with their builds. And it kept happening again and again and again. So late 2015, I had this late 2015 or early 2016, I had this epiphany, like I should just start a company that does this. I mean, I'm helping people anyway. I'm going to their houses, I'm helping them do this, I'm helping them do that. And so I just started a company. So started the company and it went relatively slow for a couple of years, just, picking up brands. And then it started to really blow up right around 2018. The 2018 mark is where things started really exploding. So there have been so many iterations of the theater now. So we've transformed the theater that we built at that point. We've transformed it into a showroom. So it's been an active showroom since 2017. And then we just keep iterating. We maintain our cutting edge. So we do everything. I mean, control systems. I remember the Harmony transition was particularly hard on me, because I had a Harmony remote in every room of not every room, but in every system that was in the house. And once they stopped manufacturing the Harmony remotes, I actually had all of them at different times start to fail on me. So that's when I started. Well, I was like, all right, I have this company. It's really time to look at automation. That's when I started doing the Control4 stuff, and that opened up a whole other world. And then that's what really opened up the company to a world beyond home theater, to like the smart home realm, which is huge. I didn't know how huge of a market it is before we entered it, but it's massive.
That's a question I have.
Well, quickly, someone left you a good comment, a nice comment. So I thought I'd put it up so you can read it. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, darling. Thank you so much. She's an awesome wife.
Yeah. Matt brings his own fan club.
Yeah, I know. I was like, damn, man, we're on, and the first comment's coming from, followers. But the question I have, whenever it comes to, like, especially as a business, right? Mm-hmm. Do you find it more that, especially high-end clients, right? They're coming more for like the ease of use. They're more impressed of, Oh wow, that is easy. Like the system,
Hmm.
they don't even care if it says Control 4 on it. They're just
No,
like,
no, they just want
oh
it to be
wait,
easy.
you mean it will do my blinds and my lights and my
Hmm.
stuff, and if I have this one thing and I hit pause because I
Hmm.
gotta, take a bio break, it's like, oh wait, everything like, okay, how do I do that? To me, I think for high end clients, that's more. I don't know that they even care
It's
about the gear.
mandatory. Yeah,
You
some of them
know,
do. Some of them do. Like, yeah, a couple of the actually a pretty decent amount of our clients, our high end clients, they are enthusiasts as well.
oh, okay,
They're people who
That's
are,
great.
yeah, a lot of people,
that would
so
make
they're
sense for
basically,
these
they're two
people.
categories. There's a high end client who just, they don't care, they just want an experience, and then there's a
Yep,
high end client who has done enough research to actually, they're in the trenches and they've had a
yep.
similar
They
journey,
have a
because quite a few people, they
passion.
start,
Yeah,
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 exactly, yeah, they've developed passion throughout their lives, and then they did well in their careers. They've been into home theater for 20 years, but now they're millionaires and they want to use it on home theater. So you definitely have those two camps, because there are a lot of very high-end clients who know exactly what they want, and you have to come knowing exactly what you're talking about, because it
Right.
is the worst thing to be
yeah,
corrected by a client. So yeah,
yeah.
but definitely. So when you go in to talk to a client, I never assume what they know or what they don't know. I waited. We have a requirements gathering session. So I come from a systems engineering background. So the whole plan, requirements, design, develop, test, and then operations and maintenance, from developing systems for 15 to 16 years. So I take that same approach. So I start with the planning phase, just generic questions. Then we go into the detailed requirements gathering phase. Once the requirements are gathered, then we do a design. Then we develop or build, and then deploy or commission, and then O&M is just a service if something goes down, et cetera, like that. So we take that approach. But taking that approach is because systems engineering life cycles are proven. They have been proven for decades. So if you take a proven approach and transfer it to something else that is not directly related, but somewhat related, just in the fact that it's something that has to be developed from scratch, then the same principles
Yep.
apply. And I found that to be very true and very successful.
Well,
Oh
you just
man,
answered my next question for me. I was going to ask you to take me through, you know, if I'm a brand new client, what the steps were. So you basically just answered that for me. So
that's
I was
yeah, we'd get along really well. I was a sales system engineer for a while, and
Sweet, awesome,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
That is awesome. So we talk the same language.
Yep. I'm in the telecom industry, so everything from
Awesome.
just basic telephony, queue, or it's like, okay, how many different you know branches, or do you have sales, marketing? What's your priority? Okay, do you want, besides just to be able to talk, chat, message to somebody? Okay,
Mhm.
now do you want to analyze every time something
Yeah.
happens? Do you want to be able to quickly analyze when you release a new product if it's instantly good? I mean, there's so many things. You can say, well, I can get talking to someone for $40, a month per person. But if you want all these things that will make you billions, well, that's like
Uh-huh.
3 grand a person per month. There's a big difference, but
Yes.
it's hard to juggle that. It's like, well, yeah, you can talk to somebody, but
Mhm.
I can get
Yeah.
you that
No.
really cheap. Shoot, I can get you that for free
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah, man. And so yeah, sorting through that requirements phase, that's how you really
Mhm.
you cut through all of that, because the requirements that defines everything else.
Yep.
And especially once you have your requirements and you separate them into operational, technical, subjective, or objective are the best way to separate them. Objective are the system shall, and the subjective are, yeah, it'd be nice to have. I'd like
Yeah.
this to happen, but if it doesn't,
Yeah.
it's all right. And then you just wait and score it. So but
yeah.
no, absolutely, yeah. That requirements definition phase is the critical phase. Without that, you do not have a solid output, no matter what your output is, whether it's a system, whether it's a theater, no matter what. Without proper requirements gathering, the end result will always be subpar.
Yep. Exactly. Or you won't know if you're happy or not happy. You're just like, well, I don't. Well, what do you want? You know.
Yeah,
It's like, I
yeah,
want transportation. Okay, here's a bicycle. or here's a
M1 Abrams tank.
50 a 50-ton
Abrams.
rock hauler. It's like, well, wait, I
Yeah.
can't even drive that down the street, and I need a license to get that. Well, you didn't give me
Oh, man.
requirements, man. I just here's
Yep.
I just want to take 2 seconds to say hi to Mr. Chuck. Mr. Chuck, how are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, man? How's
Appreciate-
everybody doing?
Good. Appreciate you
Hey,
coming back on the show.
Yeah, it's been
Oh,
a
no
while,
problem.
Chuck. You've been
I've
hiding,
been working
man.
so hard the last couple of weeks. I couldn't stay up, so I was like,
Yeah, I think
Oh.
the last
Guys,
time you were on the show, you told me that you were helping your son out with some work over his house, right?
yeah, yep. I'm building all kind of stuff over there.
Oh,
Building
wow.
rooms in the closet hut, tearing down rooms in the house. Just I still not finished, but he's actually took his girl to Paris to propose to her.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Oh, I hope she
Yeah.
doesn't watch this show. No.
Yeah, they're there. He proposed already. They've been there for about a week now.
Oh,
So
okay.
they'll probably be headed back pretty soon.
Oh, very
So-
nice.
That's
So I
awesome.
took a break now that they're gone.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
So you're gonna have a new addition to the family.
Oh yeah. She's already been part of the family, but now I guess it's official.
It's official. It's made it official. Very good. Very good. So let's go ahead and bring up Matt's website for Blair Hi-Fi Performance Solutions.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it on full screen.
I hope Chuck is drinking that beer so he can,
Get ready for him,
get his,
huh?
get his liver ready. Yeah, I hope that's training.
Don't do that to Chuck, man.
We got that coming next week. We'll talk M-Wave next week. Mr. Michael will be on the show, so we'll get the M-Wave next week. All right, let's see video reviews. Let's go to home. So Matt, this is I think I remember seeing that picture of those focals. Is that your actual house with those focals?
Yeah, so those are the Focal Super 3s along with the Focal 1000 Utopia LCRs. What we did was when we this past year, over the last year or so, after we renovated our primary showroom, we decided to create a lifestyle showroom as well. So the whole concept behind that showroom is having very high performance equipment in the room, but having it in a lifestyle setting where it has a very high aesthetic acceptance factor from all members of the family. So that room, there are no subwoofers on the floor. The two Sopra 3s were selected not only for the performance, but their high aesthetic value as well. And then in looking to have a formidable center channel, we looked at the Sopra Center, but then we also looked at the 1000 Utopia LCRs. And considering that they have the same materials and the drivers between those two, we went with the wall mount. Well, technically, it's the in-wall 1000 Utopia LCR mounted inside an on-wall box that Focal makes. So Focal is one of our favorite brands to sell and install. They sound so good, they look good, and they're truly a great company.
Yeah, so we're looking at. I keep going back to this picture here. So that box, that's a custom box that Focal makes for the Utopia.
Yes, they make it.
So
not
that
only
makes
for
it
the
an
Utopia-
on-wall, correct? Instead of an in-wall.
Yeah. Yes, it changes it from an in-wall to an on-wall. It's not germane to the Utopia line, though. They also make similar boxes for their 1000 LCRs that are not the Utopias. They also make the boxes for that as well.
So you kind of talked about, Focal. Do you have I don't know. Do you have a list of the? I guess your partners here. This is the list of projectors and processors and everything that you're carrying with your company. So
Yes, these are the heavy hitters. There are definitely more, but these are the heavy hitters that we wanted to put up on the forefront.
I see. So Mad VR, Barco. Now I got to give you the question because I know you were a Lumigen dealer, and you're
still
also a Mad VR dealer. So
absolutely.
I'm just gonna give you the question. Which one do you prefer?
I prefer them both. That's the answer.
That is the correct answer.
That is the correct answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the answer. They are both extremely high performing video processors. They're different feature sets for different use cases, but they're both excellent video processors.
Yeah, I try to give that question to somebody else. Oh, it was we were on I was just in the chat over at Tech Enthusiasm, and he had Sammy and Chris Deering on, and I asked him the same question, and I got basically the same political answer. So
It's mandatory. Look, if you sell both, no, I honestly,
Yeah,
I have
no.
no problem. If it wasn't true, I promise I wouldn't say it. Like, they really are both really good. If one was better than the other, like from a video processing standpoint, I really would say that. I'm talking about just video processing. Now, feature wise, there's definitely a delta in the actual features available. But yeah, just as far as like the raw image going through, like just I'm talking about baseline before you start adding the additional features, they're both very, very good.
Oh, so you're selling this theory. Somebody actually asked us a question about those a couple weeks back. I can't remember what model those were. That somebody was at. Was it the subwoofer they were asking us about, guys? Do you remember the Theory Audio?
Was the
I can't.
in-wall?
It might have been an in-wall Theory. Yeah, I think so.
The theory.
I didn't know.
If it was more than 48 hours ago, I don't remember.
I think that was the same where they asked about an amplifier, and it was, I think, a decent amplifier, but their homepage was like, oh, relatively it's this much wattage or whatever the
Right.
statement was. I was like,
Theoretically.
I was like, I hate that. And I was like, at the end, I was like, well, I understand it because people buy by numbers. But at least they had a technical document in the background that was very detailed. And I was like, okay, well, these are probably completely fine. But they had to, to get people's attention, it was like, most of the time, or what, I forgot what the wording was, but it didn't mean anything. It could
Right.
have been
Correct.
as it powers on and we liquid nitrogen cooled it, this is how many watts it does. But relative.
Theory Audio, they do a great job of like, so they amplify. You have to use their speakers with their amplifiers, but it's definitely for a good reason. Like, they're all tested, and their amplifiers have a really good DSP built in as well. It's extremely powerful. So if you don't have something like a Trinov or a Storm Audio, you can really dive in with the DSP to get some very, very good sound out of it. So yeah, it's just and for that reason, their whole idea is they do not want a single deployment of their product to sound bad. So to ensure that they decided to take control over that aspect, that's why the amplifiers also have the DSP.
So are those amplifiers built into the speakers, or are they passive but just rack mountable?
Yes. So the speakers are passive, and then the amplifiers are rack mountable. And so it really just matters like how many speaker channels, how many amplifier channels does each speaker require? Because you'll have the same amplifier that might be powering a subwoofer, but then on the other hand, you might need multiple channels of that to power the 8 212s, which are a speaker with two 12-inch drivers that could be a subwoofer in and of itself, in addition to its tweeter and mid-range section. So that their range of amplifiers is relatively small, but it is extremely versatile.
I didn't realize that.
What area are you in, Matthew?
I am in the DC area, so DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. But we do work literally all over the country.
Okay, cool.
Very good, very good. Yeah. So, Per, listen. So, give us a little rundown on what made you choose some of these. Let's talk about Wisdom. Wisdom's a very well-known high upper end brand. Meyer Sound also. What made you choose to become partners with them?
So there was a turning point in the company. The turning point was around 2020, where after we had experienced some very good growth, and we started getting requests for rooms where, when I mentioned the brand, it wasn't good enough for some customers. They said, nope. I want this brand. I want that brand. So we started, my wife and I, we run the company together. And so we had the conversation like, okay, we're getting these requests. Instead of adding piecemeal, let us actually refocus. I wouldn't say redefine. So yes, refocus on a high-end market. Because so the initial name of the company was Blair Media Group, and Blair Media Group is still the parent company, but Blair High Performance Solution is our boots on the ground sales and installation. And the reason why we ended up refocusing is to make it clear that we have the capability and the experience to do high performance. So after we had a couple of requests, actually it was about 3 or 4 requests for ultra high end brands, we decided to go to those manufacturers, make our case. These are not manufacturers that you can just call up and say, "Hey, I want to be a dealer." Yeah, sure.
Correct.
You have to prove that you are worthy and that you can represent the company well. So we approached the manufacturers. We made our case as a company, our expertise. Shared everything that we're doing, showed them previous theaters that we had done or 2-channel rooms, etc. And so in each one that we approached after the requisite meetings, they let us carry them, and in return we proved that we can sell and install and maintain their products.
Very
so
good.
so that turning point was right around 2020, where we shifted from mid to upper high to, and we still do and I don't even like the term like mid-level or mid-range, because mid-range to one person is ultra high end to another, but if you look at it from an overarching perspective, we still do mid-level, but we also do the ultra high end as well.
Okay. So what is the experience center? What do you actually outfit it with in your showroom?
All right, so our showroom has had quite the journey. So, we started, I should say, before we did this most recent renovation, it was an all Triad showroom. So we had Triad Platinum LCRs, the Cinema Plus Platinum LCRs, with a custom design baffle wall. Addition that we use is Acoustic Frontiers, Niall Milor. So he designed the baffle wall for that and the previous acoustic plan. So we had Triad Platinum LCRs, and then all of the surrounds were gold LCRs. And loved that room, loved it. If we didn't have the business, we would still have all of that equipment. But when we decided to pivot and then have a place where people could come and experience ultra high end, we decided to renovate and then do a Wisdom Audio showroom. So we put a Trinov Altitude in there, 2 Trinov Amplitude 16s, which are great, all great products, man. They sound amazing. And then we have a Mad VR processor. We previously had a Lumigen processor. We just cycled it out for no other reason than the business. If this was our personal just theater with no business, nothing would have changed. We were extremely happy with the performance. So, but so the Wisdom Audio speakers in the room itself, we have the Sage Cinema Line 3s for LCRs, the Wisdom STS subwoofers. We have 2 Wisdom STS subwoofers that are on either side of the center channel, the center Sage Cinema Line 3. And then in the room itself, there are 4 Wisdom Audio S90i subwoofers, which are, they're about 8.5 feet tall and 6.5 inches deep. They're technically an in-wall subwoofer, but 4 of them, and I love running this test, 4 of them will have your eyeballs rattling in with ultra bass. Like for instance, the opening of Blade Runner 2049. So when that opening happens, there's that bass wave. Those 4 in walls will have your eyeballs rattling. Unbelievable. So and then for the Atmos, we have 8 of the ICS 7As, which is their premier in-ceiling speaker. And something that's really interesting, I've done this demo and it blew people's minds. The ICS 7A, it can sound like you're listening to a 2-channel system if you don't tell anybody that they're listening to ceiling speakers. It's really amazing. So there's that. And then we also have 2 Per-Listen D215S subwoofers as well. So the Per-Listens we use when someone wants to come and hear a Per-Listen subwoofer, it's for that purpose. But we also have a setting in the Trinov where the Per-Listens are running infrasonics as well. So they're great subwoofers also.
So this picture that I got up here now, that's showing those Wisdom refrigerators, right?
Yes.
Do those come with ice makers? And
I wish. I wish. Oh no, but yeah. So these are the Wisdom. Those are the Wisdom STS subwoofers. They pack a They pack a punch. I mean, they go really low. There's no filter on them. They can go down to 12, 11, 10 hertz as long as they have enough power. And then we have the Sage Cinema Line 3s, planar magnetic drivers. The reason why it's basically floor to ceiling, the way that planar magnetic drivers work, the sound emanates from the speaker as a cylinder. So when it's coming out as a cylinder, very minimal reflections are at the top of the room and the bottom of the room. So when it comes out, if you're in the second row, if it's coming out as a cylinder, if you're in the second row, unless you have a speaker that has line of sight, so that cylinder can hit you, then you'll hear very little. So with any planar magnetic driver, no matter who the manufacturer is, any planar magnetic driver technology, you need line of sight because of the way the sound emanates. But the really good thing about that is like very high efficiency and very little decibel loss. It makes it easier to calibrate because the decibel changes between seats is so minimal compared to a point source. So those line 3s, for our surrounds, we have the line 2s, which are basically just like those, just two units high instead of 3. So instead of floor to ceiling, they're about maybe the 1/4 away from the floor and then 1/4 away from the ceiling, so that they can cover both rows from the sides. They're much closer. And then the rears as well. And the wides, we have the L8i units. Wisdom L8is. So projectors, the Sony VPL XW 6000 ES, and we are loving it. These Sonys are just sharp. I mean, we are huge fans of Sony. It's definitely our favorite projector to sell. I know it's controversial, but we've had both. We had the JVC and NX9 in here, and when we A/B'd it with the Sony, we actually chose the Sony.
Yeah. No, I mean, Sony definitely has a good
those
picture.
colors
The
in
colors,
this Sony is just
the colors on
something
the
else,
Sony.
man.
I would agree that Sony has. It's just the black levels that I just can't get past. And then you may have a way with that, with the Mad VR or the Lumigen added on to bring those black levels out that I'm just not aware of. So
here's the thing too with the black levels play a much more significant role when you're looking at smaller screens. Once you go with a larger screen, like our showroom screen is 13 feet wide, and a lot of the rooms we do are in that 12 to 14 foot wide range. When you go really wide, unless you're doing a Barco, which we love to do, but unless you're doing a Barco, your iris is going to be all the way open anyway.
Yeah.
So immediately, like with a JVC, immediately you're not maximizing black levels. You really need like a smaller screen to really get the most of that. Sipping BlackBerry, I saw that. Yeah. You definitely need you have to open the iris all the way. So immediately, I don't want to say compromise black levels, but the black levels are not what they would be with the iris all the way closed. But for the iris to be all the way closed, your screen can't be massive, or you need to go for a Barco. So once you're in the realm of iris all the way open, then the playing field gets a little more level as far as black levels go.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, definitely makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of the demos that you see are 100-inch screens, and it's like, well, at that point, I'm just getting an OLED.
I think at Emway we had 150 last.
Did we have 150?
Yeah.
Is that where they were comparing them left and right, though?
Correct. Yeah. So they were side by side comparing, and they went through. Yeah. They went through the JVCs, comparing them against each other. They went through JVC versus Sony, Epson versus JVC, Epson versus Sony.
Yeah.
So there was
I'll have to pay more attention here.
Yeah, that's definitely a fantastic event. I know we're going to get into this next week with Michael. Michael's going to be on the show next week, Youth Man, and just a well put together show for home theater and people that are looking for gear. If you notice, like every one of the people that host a live or they host a some sort of question answering show, that's what it's about. Compare this to that. Would you take this over that, right? So that's what everybody they want your answers, right? They want, not only do they want your answers, but they want to confirm their purchases too, right? Yeah. So it's it's this or that, and and that is the show to do it for you, and it does it in a very respectable way to all the other uh, competition, So I feel that it does it in a very respectable way as far as putting the one brand up against another, or showcasing a certain feature versus another. So if you can make it, definitely make sure you guys can get out there and go to M-Wave this year. So Matt, let's let me go ahead back. I want to try to pull up some of your builds that you've done for some clients here. Let's see here. Let me go back here. All right. So
Just let me know when you're ready to.
Yeah, not a
that,
problem.
And we can do that. Hey, Matt, quick question: Barco or Christie?
It's a hard one.
Similar price point.
At the similar price point.
Choose Barco, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm partial. I'm definitely partial to Barco at similar price points up until you get to the $250,000 range.
Okay,
because the Eclipse has no equal, frankly.
Yeah, the Christie Eclipse.
Just don't tell anybody I said that, but the Eclipse is.
Oh no, we know. I've seen it. That thing is.
Once you get to the light cannon outside requirements, at that point, you're like, okay, but that's a total different client.
Yeah, that's why I put that that at the same price point, because I know once you get to the Christie level, it's like don't worry about it.
The barcodes, a lot of the Christies, the cheaper models, they're fixed lenses, and most of the barcodes, even their lower ends, can't you get custom lenses?
Custom
lenses out,
absolutely. And I think that's what's nice about the entry level. But once you get to the who can produce the most light, it's like, okay, well, all right. Are
you ready for the screen share done? Or
go ahead and throw the screen share in there. Unfortunately, it doesn't give me an option just to kind of go through each one. I got to go back out and back in.
Is that your theater, Don?
That is not my theater. That is a theater that. Hey, if you look at what Jonathan said here in the chat for you, everybody's looking good except for you, Paul. So I'll agree with
that. Someone's got to make you guys look good. In comparison, you all look good.
Pull that up for a few seconds.
We can't poke fun at each other. What can we do here? So walk us through this build that you put together, Matt.
Oh yeah, certainly. So this is definitely one of my favorites. This is one instance where the customer already had his speaker set before he actually discovered me on YouTube. But he had his speaker set. He had just purchased his speaker set a few months before he found me on YouTube. So he gave me a call. We spoke, and he said, "Oh man, I was trying to get him to go Triad at the time, and I was Triad Golds, but he has the Arendal 1723s all the way around. So the room started. It was basically just walls, carpet. There wasn't really anything else. And then the client, he did bring the love sack. So those seats in the back are Valencias. The name is escaping me. I think it's something German. I can't remember, but those are Valencias. They have a very modern aesthetic. So I
love the two-tone. I like how the headrest has got a different color there. I've not seen them like that before.
Yeah, no, definitely. They're nice, and they are really comfortable. Zurich. The name is Zurich.
Okay.
The Valencia Zurichs. So they're super comfortable. They're also narrow, so they don't take up a lot of space, but they're not so narrow that you feel them on your thighs, or your hips. Like they're just genuinely comfortable. In one of the initial discussions with the customer, we were talking about Atmos. He's like, I have some ideas for the ceiling. So the star ceiling is Epic Sky. The acoustic treatments are Art Novion. So the Art Novion. So in these slides, you'll see I represent 3 different treatment brands. You'll see all of them. This is Art Novion. You'll also see Vicoustic in a different build, and then you'll see the Acoustic Frontiers treatments in the showroom itself. But so yeah, and I have to give props to the customer and his wife. They picked that gold. I went with them for a session to basically choose colors for the treatments after everything else was almost finished, and they said, you know what, let's sit on it. And then about 2 weeks later, they called me up and said, hey Matt, we picked the color. We want the gold. So so the actual treatments that you see that are gold, those are the Art Novion Sienna models. And so they have absorption and diffusion built in. Where you see the black velvet looking treatments, those are 100% absorption. The screen, it is a literally 12-foot wide. So the room itself is 12 and a half feet wide, and the screen, no, I'm sorry, no, the room itself is 12 and a half feet wide. If they see the screen has the 2-inch border, and it is a 12-foot wide screen. There is about a half-inch clearance, maybe it's a quarter-inch clearance on either side of the screen. But that was one of the requirements. The client said, listen, I'm doing this once. I want a big screen. The main listening position is actually in the rear row versus the front. The front is for overflow or guests. So they said, we're sitting pretty far back. We want a large screen. So we ended up picking that one. So because that riser is actually pretty high, that riser is about 22 inches high.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty high. It's definitely pretty high. So I had to go into, and I should have included the 3D modeling, but I had to basically just put together a design in CAD, so I knew exactly where the speakers would go, height, etc. Built platforms for the 1723 towers from a rental to sit on, so that you get adequate coverage for the front row and the rear row, and then similar to the to the rear surrounds. So yes, that is the that is a 3D treatment plan from Art Navion. We actually ended up going with a little more than that. Just to tame some of the bass, so we put some bass traps in the corners. But more or less, that's exactly what you have there. Initially, we were going to actually do Lutron shades because the customer opted to have me install Control 4 in this room. I actually did Control 4 in his whole house, but in this room specifically, we were going to go with Lutron shades. But at that time, the lead time was pretty long. So he ended up getting some shades from, I think it was Amazon, to kind of hold him over. And he said, you know what, we never lift these, so let's just stick with those. So the black shades are for Amazon. So those shades are not something that I provided. The subwoofers are Seat and Sound F18s. There are actually 2 in the room. They're in the front of the room behind the screen, resting on the floor. That is an acoustically transparent series of panels that I built for the bottom, below the screen, and the top of the screen. The clearance on either side of that screen is so minimal, it was impossible to even build anything for the sides because the screen had, you couldn't fit your finger between the edge of the screen frame and the actual room, and that is by design. If we wanted to have something else there, we would have gone with the Balon from Stewart, which has 0 border. So we could have done that, but we went with the 2-inch border so that the screen it would be just shy of the actual walls itself. So the end result, I mean, I just did the final calibration for this maybe a month ago, and the end result is outstanding. I am very impressed with Arendelle speakers in general. I was before when I first heard them, but after calibration, I have to say, I mean, they don't have a dealer model, so I'm just saying this because I heard them. They sound amazing. The Seat and Sound F18s, they rock that entire room. It's just 2 of them, and I remember initially I wanted to put 4 in, but then again, this all comes up in the requirements phase where he said it's just me and my wife in these 2 center seats at the rear. Overflow, if they don't like the bass, they can go home. So with that being said, we stuck with 2. We stuck with 2 subwoofers, and I mean they are, yeah, it's unbelievable, especially because that main listening position in the rear row is on a riser. I mean, the bass is it's violent. It's pleasingly violent.
Yeah, that's a fantastic theater that you put together there. I really like the star ceiling. I think I reached out to you privately, to kind of get a basis on the panels rather than me doing it myself, because I actually went to a place here in Boca Raton that they had the panels, and it was outrageous. It was like $50 a square foot, and I'm like, oh, that's not too bad. And then I started adding up square footage. Wow, I got 400 square feet. You know, so it's it is a little expensive.
That adds up.
Yeah, I built this. I built mine myself, and I think that was the most time I ever cursed in my life. I know. I don't recommend it to anybody, and like I joke about it, but I'm very serious. Like, don't do it. Just I don't know, but yeah, it gets really expensive to pay somebody to try to do it.
That's definitely a passion project, and
yeah.
Any questions on that theater before I move on to another one from Gene?
I know, right?
Paul?
Or in the chat, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat.
Matt, for that room, did you do any treatment in the ceiling at all? I didn't see on the sketch.
Yeah, so the only treatments are, so the Epic Sky Star Ceiling, it actually comes with, you have the option to have it come with absorption built into the star panels. So the answer is yes.
Okay, so every panel has absorption, or did you stagger that?
Yeah, no, it's complete. It's complete, and it was needed, just because the high ceiling, the high ceilings get really tricky. That's 10.5 feet high, and they can get really tricky. You definitely want some absorption on there. The way his Atmos speakers are placed, you don't even need that much diffusion. We really wanted the absorption exactly up there.
So let's talk about calibrating this when so you offer the full gamut from the time that the consultation all the way to calibration, right? All the way to the end. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Now, do you calibrate projectors and video also, or do you just calibrate the audio portion?
Yeah, I'm all audio right now. I need to get into video, but I'm all audio right now.
Okay.
That's a pain.
I know. Video is a tough one. Yeah, that's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah. So, but I mean, look, I'd imagine for you, as much as if you can adjust the Lumigen yourself on that DOS system that it has, I'd imagine that you understand 1,000% of what you're doing with gamma and everything, color space and everything else like that.
That thing is not DOS. That thing is Fortran 77. That interface is old school.
It does help.
What are you using when say I hired you to do soup to nuts, right? What are you using? What are you coming into the house with to do a calibration? And can people just hire you just to do calibration?
So calibration only is not something that I do often. I definitely have done it. It's not something that I do often. It's usually as part of a theater build package or a speaker package or something like that. Only because there's a little more value proposition there when you can throw it in with other things versus just standalone. But yeah, when I'm going to do a calibration, it usually depends on what their equipment looks like. Hopefully, I provided them the equipment so I know exactly what I need to bring. For instance, something like that theater uses an audio control processor. So if it's audio control or something, anything that uses Dirac, I know I'm bringing my U-mic. If I've sold the customer a Trinov, then I'm either bringing my Trinov mic or they're using theirs. Many customers, they buy their microphones when they buy their Trinov, so I'll use theirs. I just I'll go walk through the process of loading the microphone file into the Trinov, and then then I'll run the calibration, and I'll say, all right, if you want to run your own calibration, here's what you do. Kind of walk them through that, and there are rooms that have not. Oh, let me not forget Anthem. If it's an Anthem room, then ARC. Of course, Anthem room correction. So if it's not a processor or receiver that has a robust calibration capability, then it's me and REW. Actually, it's me and REW no matter what. But REW adjust the filters, then run the calibration, then tweak. That's usually it. But if there's no auto, you still do the other steps. So you still run REW. Make adjustments if wherever you need to in the PEQ. and then just tweak, listen, tweak, and go through that process. So it really depends. Every room is different. So, but it's usually directly attached to what the processor or receiver is.
So which of the calibration options out there just make you just shake your head? I'm not going to ask which is the best, but which one just makes you like, I don't feel
Odyssey.
like dealing with this one.
Odyssey.
Odyssey.
Okay.
Odyssey.
Yeah, I just don't like it. I mean, I've used it a ton. I mean, some of I remember my first what I consider to be expensive receiver was a Denon, I think it was an AV 3800 Ci. It was circa 2009 or 2010. I'll never forget ordering that thing from I think it was Vans.com. I don't know if they're still around, but I ordered that thing. I remember I spent $2,100 on a receiver, and when I got home, I sat in silence for an hour, saying, "Did I just do that?" I couldn't grasp the concept. But that was my first experience with Odyssey. Previously, I had done Pioneer. I had Pioneer with the MACC, which I thought was terrible. So, so at that point, I thought Odyssey was great. But then after just moving forward into some of the other systems that were available, then going back to Odyssey, it seems so limited. Like I'm so happy that like the higher end the Denons and Marances have direct, because it's such a game changer. Like that level of equipment deserves a solution like direct. They just deserve it. So, and I don't want to step on Odyssey. Odyssey can get you much better results than most people can just get on their own. So Odyssey is definitely doing a great thing. It's just that,
and I think with the
personally, I don't
addition
like
of the auto EQ that they added on and stuff like that, yes, it is $200 to purchase it, but I think it does bring the playing field a little bit closer than what it was, back then when you were, when you were messing around with it and stuff like that. I think that that addition that they added on does bring it a little bit closer. But like you said, I think most people prefer Dirac, or I think a lot of people are moving to Arc this over the past couple of years, just because of the stability of the Anthem product over the past couple of years versus the other products that were out there. When we were at M-Wave, we had a blind test for room correction, and they had all of them there. They had Anthem, they had Lindorf, they had I don't think they had Trenoff, but they did have Storm, and they had Storm with the newly bass control for Dirac, I believe.
Yeah.
Their newest version, Art. I think it's Art, right? So they had that there.
Art. Yep, Direct Art.
So are you actually? Is there an official Art release yet that you know of for that's not a beta, or are you messing with any of the Art stuff now?
Yeah, I haven't really done much of the Art stuff usually, and a big part of that is because I do so many rooms that I do come with the treatments to the point where people don't really care to mess with it, or they don't care to pay me to mess with it. So that's usually what it is. Like they get the end result from the treatments, like physically attack the issues in the room with treatments and placement. Now art is awesome, but what I always say about Art, and this is my personal opinion. There are others out there who can have different opinions, but my personal opinion is that solutions like Art, they really shine in rooms where you can't treat first.
Right.
Because then, so that's my personal opinion. It's an outstanding capability though. And I'm sure that even in treated rooms, it will still, elevate, but just in my experience, I mean, the rooms that I do are 9 times out of 10 come with a treatment plan or a treatment package. So we just attack it physically and then calibrate the rest.
Yeah. I mean, I know those are solutions, like you said, that for rooms that doesn't have much treatment. Obviously you want to treat your room if you can, right? So, do a lot of people that I've spoken to, they talk about how treating the room was the major change, not getting new speakers, not getting a new processor, not getting, new equipment, but actually treating the room and
Yep.
what a change it actually makes to the room. Speaking of treating the room, go ahead and pull up this other beautiful picture of this theater that we got that Matt designed and built. I am really digging this diffusion, whatever, right next to this round diffusion, and then this stylish panel
Yeah,
right next to it. What is that, Matt?
Yeah, so that's all Vicoustic treatments. Now this, so one of the things Art Novion and Vicoustic will do, they will put a treatment plan together for you based on your speaker positioning and your room dimensions. So in this particular case, this is a per listen customer of mine. He has a full per listen system, including two of their D215Ss, and so had the speakers, had the room dimensions. Vicoustic put together the plan, and then we just ended up executing the plan. So now, and I also want to give props to this customer. This customer, he actually he did the install of these treatments just like by himself. He did he tackled those, so definitely props to him. But yeah, so yeah, this gives you a window into just how different companies do things differently. So you have these skyline style diffusers from Vicoustics, whereas Art Novion, they have something that's more slat based. And then as you'll see a little later on, Acoustic Frontiers has something that's I wouldn't say hybrid, but we'll get into that a little later on. But yeah, this is a great room. He also is powered by a Trinnov Altitude and an Amplitude 16. He's running Kaleidoscape. I mean, it's a truly great and truly high performance room.
So this panel, what is the purpose? Is that diffusion, and what is that made of? That's next to this round panel that I'm looking at here. It's just to the left of that. What is the purpose of that actual device? Is that a diffuser?
Yeah, so it does diffuse. One of the things you'll notice with treatment plans in general, they generally want to do both absorption and diffusion in like the same general area. They're trying to get it and then absorb and direct at the same time. So you'll often see diffusion and absorption juxtaposed in almost any professional acoustic plan that you see, just because there's certain frequencies that you want to absorb and other frequencies that you want to disperse, and by juxtaposing those, you get to hit those waves at more or less the same time. Of course, not identical, but more or less the same time, and then it can do both of those things to that sound at the same time.
I see. So that is absorption and diffusion at the same time.
Yeah. So those I believe those are the cinema rounds that are to the left of that. And I can't remember what the diffusion piece is called, but yeah. So you get more absorption.
What was that material? Is that a foam? Is that a wood? What, a veneer?
I'd say it's like a veneer. Maybe not quite a veneer. Let's go with veneer for lack of a better term. But yeah, I would say like a veneer on the surface, and then the unit to the left of that, which is curved, the cinema round. Yeah, that is an absorptive piece.
So what's the room size? Any idea? Do you remember?
Ooh, this room I think was 18. I want to say 18 by 26. And I did forget to mention the seats. Those are the row 1 Calvary seats with the movable headrest. Amazingly comfortable seats.
Okay, I was looking at those and I was like, I don't know that I've seen those. They look really cool. They look a little deeper.
They are. Yeah, they're super comfortable. Like the level of comfort.
I think those were at CDR. I think I remember doing an interview for those covers. They're really, really nice.
Yes.
They're really nice.
Yep. Yeah, both in the leather and their fabric variations. Yeah, super nice. They're very, very. They give you a very high-end feel.
That room looks deep, though. Oh, looking out, it was a different view now, but it looked.
Oh, I can change it back. Sorry.
No, that's fine. But now it gives me a better perspective, because I was just about to ask what the throw distance was, and what if that was I know it looks like a JVC, but what JVC that was.
Yeah, that's a JVC NX8. And these pictures the room was probably 88% complete at this point.
there's no treatments or anything. The wires are,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
in that
They'll
way,
have
yeah,
the
exactly.
tags
So the
on the
wires
chairs.
and yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Now,
But those are the Perlisson S7Ts for the towers, and the S7C for the center, and then the one of the D215Ss up front, and then there's another one that's at the back of the room for even bass
do you
response.
have those subwoofers elevated, or what is going on back there?
No, so on the riser it's elevated, but on the up front it's on the ground level.
Oh, okay. The picture makes it look like it's floating up there on my screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no,
Like,
yeah, no,
wow, that's
it's
pretty
sitting on the
wild.
ground.
That's some
Oh
extra
yeah, it does look like that a little bit, like
not
it's almost
needed
elevated a little bit. Yeah.
thing, but okay.
Yeah. So, well, I will say though, it is on the amazing, and I recommend these for everybody. The Iso Acoustics Gaia feet. So I recommend those for everything. We had those are on the S7Ts. Those are on the all of the Perlisson speakers in here. They're on the D215S subwoofers as well. So
Gotcha.
maybe that they are giving it a little more height. That could be what's contributing factor.
Well, I think is what it
that
is.
floating
It's
look.
just the photo and the front chairs make the chairs kind of blend into the carpet on one side, so it's just it's a kind of a a shadow contrast thing that makes you like, wait, is that thing floating? But one half of the chair is kind of blending in, making it look like it's floating. But it's the whole thing looks, everything looks really amazing, and all Perlisson. Like they spared no compromise here.
No, not at all.
Definitely.
So I'm going to move. Any questions about this theater, guys, before I move on to something else?
No, so for this particular
either.
customer, just want to say that it's really interesting. When we were having our initial planning discussions, he never heard of Perlisson at all. It was brand new to him. So there's definitely because he loves his room now. There's definitely a benefit to when you build a relationship with a dealer and integrator, make it a relationship with somebody that you can really trust. Because I mean, he put his trust in me. I told him like, this is what you need to get. He said, Matt, we've done business in the past. I trust you. Let's go for it. And he's extremely happy with the results. So this is just a general advice for any enthusiast out there. When you pick your dealer or your integrator, make it somebody that you trust to the point where you'll spend money based on their word.
Yeah.
And it's hard to go wrong with Perlissons, man. Those things are really well built speakers.
Really nice.
So this system here, this was it doesn't look like a hard one, but I'll tell you what made this one really hard. Behind that front wall is a crawl space with pipes coming out of the wall and swooping down. So I had to literally get down into a plank position and walk myself 3 inches at a time until I can go under the collection of pipes in order to actually
sound like you're doing my job now.
Oh man, it was horrible. It was horrible. But so this system is a very in talking with the client, he said, listen, Matt, I don't want to spend more than $7,000, including labor, including receiver, including everything. What do you have that sounds good? So these are all Episode speakers. Many people haven't heard about Episode, but they're a company that's owned by Snap One. And so he has the Episode 7-inch in-ceiling speakers for his Atmos. He has the in-wall versions of these going around the room, and then he has these bookshelves for the left, right, and center. And this room is such a hit. I mean, so when I say this room was probably like $6,500 all in, labor, equipment, everything. It's in the theater space is it's very inexpensive. But he said the room is such a hit with his family, he doesn't even get to use it anymore. His children use it. Their friends come over, they use it. His wife and her friends use it. He said, I never get a chance to really use it because every time I'm ready to watch a movie, somebody's in it. So, it's how putting a theater in your room that you can actually like enjoy and use, it can change your family dynamic.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part of it, right? There's no point having, $100,000 theater that only you get to sit in it, but nobody wants to sit in it, So if your family is taking over it, I think that's a better option.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. It's a good sign. It's a good sign. They all see the value in
what screen
in the
size
money
that?
spent.
77 or 85?
That's an 83. That's an 83. That's a yeah, that's an 83. Yeah, I want to make sure it's an 83. It's a Samsung 83. It's the Q series. It's a Q series 83.
It's definitely clean. I like the look of that. The clean look. You're not. You just keeping it simple, keeping it nice and clean. I really do like the look of that. I like that. How did you mount the center speaker under there too? Is that on a shelf or a bracket? How did we do that?
Yeah, so if you go to and this is actually I got these two little, you can call them shelves for lack of a better term, from Amazon. They're these two almost like L brackets, except they're purpose built. So, and you install the short part of the L against the wall. If you don't have studs, then anchors will work. Like this particular install, one of the pieces, it's two pieces that come out parallel. So even though it's not technically a shelf, the two pieces come out in parallel, and then the speaker sits on those shelves. So and then so when you do that, then you just screw one into the stud, the other one can hit an anchor, and then you can change the length. You can adjust the length of it. So you just push it back just far enough where it's not visible when you walk into the room or when you sit down.
Okay.
And then you have the appropriate depth of the shelf. So it's a really nifty thing. It's from a company called Pile.
Pile. Yeah, I'll have to look that
Yeah.
up, and we'll share that. You said that's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Yeah. It was a pleasant
Yeah, so
find.
we'll-
I was
we'll-
initially going to do something more elaborate, but it put us over the
File's
budget.
it's a very known commercial or that's used
Like
for
Pro AV.
pro audio stuff, and they make anything, build like I need an adapter or a stand or something like that. Man, they're they're the
look
go-to.
something like this.
There they go. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Yep, that's it right
Because
there. With the
metal's
adjustable
metal.
length.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and they're like the clips of the pro audio world, I guess,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the high end audio people, stuff like that.
Yes. All
Channel
right. This
I think
is
we're
good.
I think we've got some
That's
audio
amazing.
issues going in and out.
Yep.
All right, let me go back to that.
Inexpensive on there too. It's like, man, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
subwoofer wise, what did you use subwoofer wise in here? I don't know. If you said it, I do apologize. I was trying to click back and forth through some pictures here.
Oh no. So yeah, so those are also from Episode. They are 10-inch subs. So we did two 10-inch subwoofers, just to give the room good coverage. The rear row in this room, the rear row was going to be where the husband and wife sat, and then the front row was going to be for the children. So we went with the two dual-inch 10-inch subwoofers from Episode, and again, just I want to shout out Episode. They're a great speaker company. I mean, their speakers sound great, and they're very affordable.
I think they have a subwoofer with the like the surround is like super thick, and it extends the is like super far too. If I'm thinking of the correct sub, I remember the surround. It's almost like you can jump on this thing. It's the surround is so thick and big. I may be misspeaking here, but I remember somebody reviewing that Episode sub before.
Yeah, so they have an
So I'm going to
extremely
switch gears here,
robust line.
and we're going to dive into the weeds a little bit. So, Matt, you talked
Mhm.
about doing a bunch of research on sound isolation and soundproofing and stuff like that. And you got some very interesting pictures coming up here. I'm going to go ahead and share this one with you. If you could just walk us through what we're looking at here.
Oh yeah, certainly. So this is This particular picture, we've used this in other builds, but this particular picture is from a room that we did the final calibration for earlier this year. I think it was January or February. It's a fully soundproofed room. We use Kinetics noise control for all the soundproofing products. So what we're seeing here, this is a step above the standard clips and channel for the ceiling. Because historically, what I've always done and what many people have always done when building soundproof rooms is you do clips and channel on the walls and the ceiling. So, but in order to take it, because directly above this room is a kitchen, and having noise right above the theater was a no-go for this family. So, actually, Don, if you could go back just one picture.
Go back to the other one.
Yeah, the one that was just the close-up of the spring.
Yep.
Okay, so the way this differs is generally the clip will screw into the bottom of the joist, or if you're using blocking, then it will screw into the bottom of the blocking between joists. What this does is you have a spring that attaches to the joist. You have to add blocking to make sure that the spring has clearance from the bottom of the eye joist. But so you screw the spring into the joist, and then at the bottom of the spring, you slide in what is essentially a steel stud. Once you slide in the steel stud, then and only then can you get your self-tapping screws and install the channel to the steel stud. So what you have is you have the channel screwed directly into the steel stud. The steel stud then is connected to the spring. And what this does is it absorbs so much sound compared to just the standard like clips on the joist. And how I know this is extremely effective is that this particular customer, he said he didn't even want the door seals on the doors. He said, Matt, I watched a movie last night, full volume. Wife didn't even know I was watching something. And he said, so I don't need to do anything else, because we had plans on getting the door seals for the door. So the room has 3 doors. So we had plans on doing the door seals on the top and the sides, and then the automatic dropping door bottom. It's a neoprene strip that drops down and creates a pressurized seal between the door threshold and the actual door bottom frame. So those are part of the plan. He said, you know what, man, I don't need those anymore, because the goal has been achieved. I can watch a movie and it doesn't disturb anybody. And so I just want to say that's how effective this is. So this is by Kinetics Noise Control. They do a ton of commercial work, but they also have residential. It's it took a little bit to navigate, how to get into the residential space with them, because they are so commercially focused. Mm-hmm. But yeah, actually being in, they are the best company for
yeah. I've looked at their website before. It's some very intricate stuff that they're doing there. So yes. Let's just walk through what we're looking at here. So if I'm looking at this correctly, this is a floor joist that the spring is actually hooked to, right? So the floor joist is running, I guess, horizontally along the underneath of the floor on top, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So because I'm not sure, a lot of people aren't very familiar with construction. So, and mm-hmm. in this particular picture, this if you can see my cursor, this is actually the floor joist. And what they do is they use this plywood and turn it sideways to strengthen, and then run boards across the bottom and top. It's a little bit cheaper than running like a 2x12 or mm-hmm. running like something like that's very expensive. And then
those are manufactured joists, which are actually right. found to be stronger than a standard cut joist. So those are actually end up being better.
And then, did you take this block and adhere it to the joist, the block of plywood behind it?
Yes. Yeah. We had to push it out far enough so that the actual spring piece and the part below that holds the steel joist, the steel stud, to make sure that it had clearance from the bottom of the eye joist, because at the bottom of the joist, it comes out a little bit, about maybe half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. So we had to clear it, similar to the top. If you look at the top of the joist, there's it comes out a little bit, and then it goes up into the subfloor. So something like that is also at the bottom. So you basically have to add blocking to push it away from the actual middle of the eye joist.
Okay. And then there's nothing else attached other than those bolts and the spring itself. The channel is actually just held up by that spring apparatus that you have there. So the only thing that is, I guess, how do you say that? Not isolated. The only thing that is attached is those bolts holding the frame, but the spring is basically floating in the air, correct? Just between
Yes.
those two.
Yes. The
Okay.
spring is
And
floating,
then you bolt the channel underneath, and that's what you then attach your hat channel and stuff like that's hat channel on the bottom, correct?
Yes, correct.
So you attach your hat channel, and then you attach how many layers of drywall did this place get?
Yeah, this customer got 2 layers of drywall, which is the most common. Yeah,
Okay.
the double layered
Yeah,
drywall. So that's a better picture, just showing the grid.
Yeah. So that's
And for anybody who's going to be doing like a soundproofing room, make sure you extend your fire sprinklers. And you have to call a dedicated fire sprinkler company to do it. Don't call your plumber. They'll probably take the job, but it will not be code compliant.
Yeah, last thing you want is when your house
Good
catches
call.
fire that the insurance company says, we're not going to cover that.
Yep, definitely. You need to use a dedicated fire sprinkler company.
So this is a little bit further in the build here.
Yes. So now the clips and channels are on the walls, and then we have the springs in the channel on the ceiling as well. And eventually, what we ended up doing, actually, as a matter of fact, we have it in here. There was an open space to the left of the room, but we decided to close the room off completely, but for the soundproofing purposes. Now, this is a very challenging room. I think you'll see it in some of the upcoming pictures. It's amazing. Like, one of the reasons why like this room being a success is so great is because the room has a huge glass double door at the back. So we had to do everything possible for soundproofing, just because flanking is a real thing, and the breakfast nook is right above the area of the theater where directly above where the back glass doors are. So it's definitely a challenging room. So what we see on the screen now, those are duct mufflers. Those are also made by Kinetics Noise Control. So when you're using your existing HVAC system, if you want a soundproof room, a noise isolated room, and before I even go further, I want to make sure everybody understands a benefit of a soundproof room is that nothing gets out, but the biggest benefit is that nothing gets in. So you're in a quiet room where you can hear all of the nuanced detail in the track. So we just wanted to say that. So putting these the duct mufflers on both the supplies and the returns for the room, it ensures that you don't hear the HVAC going off, because there's an HVAC right next to this room, like the furnace, everything is right next to this room. So it's this exact room where you're seeing the duct muffler. The HVAC unit is in that same room. So we really had to attack it there, so that there was more distance between the duct muffler and the actual supply vent and the return vent that is actually inside the room itself.
Man, that is.
Yeah, this is definitely diving into the weeds, guys.
My engineering brain is loving all of this. I'm like, oh yeah,
awesome.
That's cool. I like that. And I was like,
so
that's
it looks
legit,
like those are the two double doors that you're talking about.
Yep. Those are the 2 double doors. Absolutely, those are the 2 double doors. And even though those are double doors, we still have the clips and channel and double drywall all around it. We do everything that you can in a room. That is the Focal frame. So this is an interesting room as we go through this room. So this uses Focal 1000 series speakers for surrounds and Atmos, and it uses Legacy Audio Focus SEs and the marquee for the LCRs. And the reason is that the customer is an audiophile. He loves Legacy speakers. He and I bonded years ago on the Legacy Audio brand, and we are Legacy Audio dealers. So he had his Focus SEs when he decided he wanted to upgrade. Was before he was using like the SVS surrounds. It was kind of like, all right, I care about my 2-channel, but surround, okay. But he decided he wanted high performance all the way around. So he actually went. Yeah, that shot shows the Legacy LCR, the Legacy Focus XDs for his towers, and then the marquee. The subwoofers are the JTR RS2s, which are world beater subs. Those are just crazy. But in this room though, so there was a production delay because initially the order was for Legacy Audio for the surrounds and the Atmos, but there was a production delay that the customer was not comfortable. He wasn't comfortable absorbing that time. So he said, all right, Matt, what can you get me that's faster and that will not drastically alter the timbre? So I gave it some thought, and I arrived at the Focal 1000 LCRs, because the Legacies, they use a dual air motion tweeter, and the Focal 1000, they have the beryllium. They both have similar, although not identical, they both have similar characteristics with the high-end treble. The treble has a very airy quality to it, especially if you're listening to female vocals, strings, etc. So they have similar tonalities. So because of that, we paired, and again, these are LCRs for surrounds. Whenever we can, we opt not to go with speakers that are designated as surrounds. We like to go with LCRs for surrounds because they're more dynamic and they have a better output capability, and they're designed to sound better because they're usually the centerpieces of the system. So we have the Focal 1000 LCRs for the side surrounds, and then in the previous slide we saw that. Well, also in this video too, you'll see it. I think I speak in this video, so you might want to mute it, Don, before
Yeah,
you.
I want to see if I can mute it. I don't know if I
Yeah.
can or not. Volume. Turn it all the way down, and let me see if it'll stream or not. I don't know how this is going to come out.
Yep, it is.
Yeah,
It is
so
true.
that's the LCR. Yeah, I can see it. It's a little choppy, but yeah, those are the Valencia seats that we put in. And then if you see the rear surrounds, we had to get creative because of that double door at the back. We had to get creative. So took the LCRs and the Focal 1000 LCRs. You can change the mid-range tweeter array. You can switch the orientation 90 degrees. So we switched the speaker 90 degrees so that it would fit above that glass door. And then, so that's the rear surround, and the end result sounds absolutely amazing. I mean, this is a truly end game room. It's beautiful. So that's phase one. Phase two, we'll be doing some treatments in the room, but even without the treatments, the room sounds really, really good. Oh, this is just I was playing some music here, but so you can see the Focal LCRs that are inside the wall, and then those on wall at the back over the door for the rear surrounds.
Now, what color are the walls in this?
The walls are a dark gray.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
and I like that because some people will go just full on black, and it's like, oh man, I'm tripping over myself.
Yeah. No, the room is extremely inviting. Like when you step in, first you're in awe. And look, I see rooms all the time, but this room, you step in because when you step in, first it's so quiet because it's soundproofed. So it's very, it's just very calming. So first, that's when you walk in, and then second, you look around, you're like, this is truly a place where somebody is intended to enjoy music and movies. That there's no compromises were made here. It was intended for music and movies, and it sounds every bit as good as it looks.
So, did you do any in ceiling speakers in that, or
yes? So there are six of the Focal 1000 in ceilings. The IC6s, I believe. I could be getting the model number wrong, but yeah. So they're basically their largest 1000 series in ceiling speaker. There are 6 of those providing Atmos duty.
And let me just ask you, because a lot of people, once they see this video, they're probably going to say, the rear surrounds are kind of high, right? Obviously, you have to work with what you got, right?
Yep.
Do you have any problems? Did you have any problems separating those channels so they didn't mud together? As far as and how would you do something like that with if you got 6 Atmos speakers the Atmos speaker probably wasn't too far away from where that rear surround is above that sliding or the double door. How do you get those separated? And what type of challenges did you have with that?
Yeah. So this, step one was realizing this is the only place that speaker could go. Having this type of speaker, and then
Right.
as far as spacing, making sure that basically getting it as far as possible while still covering both rows, and then those speakers are angled, so the entire baffle is angled towards the seating, so you're getting a
Okay.
beam that's away from, it's pointing away from the rear surround speaker. So there's that aspect. Now the other aspect that we did, and when I first installed this, I said, all right, during calibration I'm going to listen, and if this doesn't sound right, I'm going to flip it. Was actually tweeter orientation. So the way that you can install the focal on wall boxes, and the speakers as well, because you can change the orientation. Right now, the tweeter it can be basically near the ceiling, or it can drop down. So, but
Okay.
what I was going for is because the baffle is angled, actually where it's placed is it's a perfect angle to cover the rear row and the front row. I said, all right, let me try, and this is a psychoacoustics thing. Let me try to place it exactly where I placed it, and then have the tweeter up top, have it basically take advantage of the reflections in the room. They're both near corners and they're near ceilings, and see what that sounds like. So I played some test tones. I was happy. I started playing some. This is before calibration. Started playing some content. I said, okay, all right, that clearly sounds like it's coming from behind me. And played a lot of scenes where I'm very familiar with the separation of the soundstage. I know what happens in the Atmos layer. I know what happens on the bed layer. And and end result, I was very happy with the way this turned out.
Great. Yeah. No, I was just curious about that, because
Yeah.
a lot of people say, you need that distance between, the ceiling or between the speakers, right? So,
Mhm.
this is just proven fact that you can work with what you got and
Yeah, what you have. Yep.
still get
Oh, yeah.
a good result.
You can
It
work.
doesn't
Yeah,
have to
you
be
can.
100%
Yep.
to Dolby's white page. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
still have a good result.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
done
Every
the
place
same
is
thing
different.
in my situation where I had like my right is so close to all glass where I had to move everything in because it muddied everything and made everything height wise sound like it was coming from the right side, So I literally had to move everything in because it was even after doing diffusion or full absorption up near the top, there was just too much, you know, reflections. So moving everything in a little bit helped it out a lot. And in this case, a lot of people don't realize with your chairs, whenever they're up above your ears, everything you hear is a reflective sound. You're not getting direct. So that's, you have to rely on your integrator or installer to, and their experience. Because again, like you said, it's a lot of it's a psychoacoustic thing, right? You just
Mhm.
have to decide, okay, I want to experience something. I want to know if it's behind me, and there's always compromises and of course, yeah, you could have rebuilt the house around a theater, but okay, well, I
Yeah.
need to give me another 500 grand and I'll have
Yeah.
this perfectly placed,
So,
Yeah.
we had a question by Big Jack. Says, "What's the noise floor in the rooms built at this level? Were you able to take some measurements of just sitting quietly in the room, Matt?"
Yeah, this room I think is like 32 decibel. I think it's around
Wow.
32 decibel, maybe 31, something like that. And that's without the door seals. Yeah,
Okay.
it's right around there. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's really quiet. It's a really quiet room. But yeah, when you go to this nth degree, I mean, the end result, as long as there are no, or minimal compromises, like the one big thing that you can't overcome is the glass door. But But still, like the end results, I was very pleased with how well it performed, considering there's a giant glass door right at the back of the room.
Yeah, yeah. And the client, did they use that? Do they use that glass door on a regular, or is that something that they just is that like a walkout or?
Yeah, it's a walk up to probably one of the most beautiful patios I've ever seen. It's a walk up to a very lovely patio where they spend time.
Okay. Yeah, so probably getting used all the time. So it's not something that you could have built a bracket and maybe rotated the speaker and kind of hung it in front of the door. So yeah.
Yeah,
All
so
right. Any
Gene did
any
ask a question, which is also an observation I made, is a lot of your clients use through center speakers, or basically in-room speakers versus in-wall. Is that by design or is that just coincidence? Do you do a lot of in-wall speakers?
Yeah, so the majority of the speakers that I do are true LCRs. Like they're, all of the pictures that you're seeing here are the customers who have in the past given me a green light
Okay, to
to
share.
share photos of their room openly. But the overwhelming majority LCRs behind the screen. Now there are different cases. So in one case, so the room that we were just looking at, the customer wanted as bright a picture as possible. So when we were talking about putting that Stewart screen in there, we spoke about acoustically transparent versus solid. Well, he didn't want to get rid of his legacy marquee HD, and he wanted the brightest image possible. So he was not willing to compromise on that. So solid screen, non-AT was the only option for him. But if I'm doing a room from the ground up, there is never a horizontal speaker involved. Never. It's usually if the client already has a horizontal speaker, or if the client requirements demand a horizontal speaker for screen types. If the screen must be solid versus acoustically transparent. But yeah, so I would say 98% of the rooms that we do are acoustically transparent screen
Yeah.
and true LCRs, no matter what brand they're coming from. True LCRs, all
And,
of
and
Go
matching.
ahead
that's
and
All
pull this one up.
it sounds just you can make that sound just as good, but aesthetically a lot of the times behind the screen, and if you're really a stickler for timbre matching, doing all matching, behind the screen is definitely a thing if you're a little OCD especially. But yeah, that's cool. I like all of your setups and all of the from your lower, like, gosh, like I have way more in my not even as nice theater in some of the things that you have on your deployments.
So
But
these are the Wisdom, right? These are the Wisdom
Yes,
yeah,
speakers.
yes, yeah. Those are the Wisdom. These are Sage Cinema Line 2s, and Line 2 means two modules. So with planar magnetic drivers and Wisdom specifically in this case, the minimum you can have is two of those modules so that you get a proper planar wave coming out. So those are the Sage Cinema Line 2s, along with the Seaton Sound DS 1812s, which means 18-inch drivers, 12 inches deep. And this was an interesting one. These required backer boxes to be built, to maintain soundproofing. But yeah, this is a very exciting room. This room is nearing completion. I actually have a couple photos I should have included of the screen. This customer went with a Seymour Screen Excellence TAM 4 screen, it's a 4-way masking screen. And I mean, the crate is 174 inches long. It's massive, but it's going to be 150 inches
Wow.
wide, and it's really going to like seal the high end feel of this room. This picture is actually a little older. It has the walls up, the treatments are up now. The room looks very clean already. It's just literally just waiting for the screen and seats. But it does give some insight into like what a room like this looks like. This is definitely a very high performance room. This whole room, MSRP in this room is right around maybe 175 to 200K all in when you count equipment,
Oh wow.
building, design, everything. This is definitely a very high performing room.
So did you do the sound isolation in this room also?
Yeah. So this room is in California. We did this room in partnership with an interior design company called Acoustic Smart. Shout out to Acoustic Smart. You're awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, their owner, Rich Karshan, he's a legend. So Acoustic Smart, what they have is they design home theater acoustics for high end cinemas, but then they also have builders that they will fly out and they'll build your room in like 3 days or 4 days. It's a crew that
Damn,
comes
I
just
should have
builds it out.
hired them. I would have got my theater done by now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would have been less than a week, man. It definitely would have been less than a week, at least for framing. It's first.
Matt, you need to
I
go
had
to
to take it. I
Don's
had to do it before they were going to.
That
Because
was
you
a
know,
preemptive.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
preemptive
Well,
self-strike.
I want to know. I want to know,
Look,
Matt, how
Don,
much
you could be
extra
just
do
2-3
you
days away right
charge?
now.
How much extra do you charge to come behind someone that's been working on it
I know.
for 3
We
years?
will set up a GoFundMe just to get Don
Yeah.
started. Like,
It's so funny.
I'd be charged.
I'll drive you from DC to Florida.
look, I'm going to let you know. We
theater
prefaced
for probably
this
like
earlier,
30
right?
grand.
When I left Matt's house 3 years ago, he was tearing stuff apart. I think I just heard him say that he is just about completing his room himself too. So you know, baby steps, right?
Yeah.
Perfection
Well,
leads to.
but that's because he's changed.
You're
his
not taking
15
baby
times.
steps. You're
So
taking feeder steps.
this isn't his first go.
That's some first trimester steps you're taking, bro. You're not moving.
I will say, my buddy Miguel, he is fully passed on everything, and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna send you guys a picture so you can rub it into Don's face
He needs to go
whenever
on the
he
show when
walks
he's
into
ready.
his
Man.
theater."
Yeah, I think he was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here.
Yeah.
So.
He's gonna send it with the paint on the walls and everything ready. He just needs to bring his equipment. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll tell Don, man, he better be really good at drywall and then mega fast at throwing in equipment, because he's gonna have his full room done probably next week, like move in ready."
I was gonna take a vacation this coming week, but I have my boss's boss coming in, and I have some pretty high clients coming in. They're a national account for a grocery chain that's coming in. So I'm gonna take off Thursday and Friday. They're coming in the day after Labor Day. But I was going to. I already spoke to my friend that helped me a little bit with the drywall. I was gonna have him help me, but my wife kind of guilt tripped me that I wasn't taking her anywhere for our anniversary. So Thursday,
Not a guilt.
No, he
Thursday,
always blames
Thursday-
Don't
I'm
get us
like,
involved in that, man.
throws that
Thursday
family
and
thing
Friday,
in there. I'm
Don't
like,
Thursday,
get us
Friday,
involved
Saturday,
in
and
that,
Sunday.
man.
I'm going to Key Largo.
I'm thinking
So-
Don's the real player. He must have 32 families or something back there. Like, oh, it's a family thing. We're gonna call it a family thing.
So yeah, no. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next week, I'm going to. We're going to go to Key Largo. It's only maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours from our house. So we're going to go there, spend the anniversary.
Some real surround sound there.
So yeah, so if I don't make the show next week, you guys know it's because I'm way too intoxicated to get onto the show. But
You'll be just fine. The show will be.
See,
We'll
you
miss
need to,
you, but,
need to
you know.
exercise, man. You got to exercise your liver. You got to exercise.
We'll miss you,
gotta
but spend
exercise
time with the family. Don't get us roped into something else.
yeah, she might come hunting you guys down.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. So,
No,
Hey,
my
I'm
son.
not involved.
My son
I'm
is
not
usually in
involved
bed at this time.
anything you do outside of the house.
My son's in bed at this time, so if we're not doing anything, I may just pop on for a little bit. But if not, if we're out doing something, obviously, like I always preach, families first. So
Yep.
gotta make sure we take care of everybody in the family
When
before
you
we
have
do
12
anything.
families. That's a lot of
Sure.
firsts.
I got all kind of families. So Matt, I know we kept you on longer than you wanted. I don't know. Are you? I think we can save it for next time for you to give a showroom tour, unless it's something you still want to do.
Yeah, I'm definitely good. This is a great conversation, guys.
Oh, great. Well,
Okay.
look, let's go ahead and get you dialed in on your phone so that we can show what you got set up in your showroom. You can go through that a little bit, and then
Mhm.
if we get you dialed in, we can gear back towards to John Anthony. What new additions he's put in his theater while you're getting in
Ooh.
his first world problems, one of his 3 theaters in his
I
house,
know, right?
right?
It, yeah,
what addition he did while Matt calls in on his phone.
yeah,
All
absolutely.
right.
So
I
yeah,
love
so
that.
since go ahead, Matt.
Hey, don't
You
stop
good?
sharing. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Okay. All right. So since last time we talked, I did a couple changes. The main theater that I'm sitting in right now, I got the new center set up. So it's the really big top of the line Bowers and Wilkins 800 series center speaker that weigh like 80 pounds. It's humongous. It's actually bigger than my left and right floor standing speaker. So that sounds amazing. And
What's the model number of that?
I think it's the HTM1D3. So see if we can pull that up. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's
what
in
I'm
the
going to
800
right now.
series. Yep. Uh, Extremely happy about it. I just recently demoed Dune, and you know how much you guys heard me raving about that movie. The sound coming out of that center speaker is just fantastic. The clarity, I think a lot of people underestimate how important that clarity of the vocal when you listen to a movie, that you want it to be crystal clear so you can understand the dialogue. And so I've been extremely happy with how awesome the dialogue coming out that center speaker is. Definitely a pain in the butt to carry all the way upstairs to have it mounted. And the trick, I don't know, we talked about it, but I actually mounted on the ISO acoustic stand, because looking at that, the stand that come for that speaker costs like $800 for that stand.
Oh, wow.
yikes.
Yeah. So it's like I wasn't in the mood to buy. It's like $800 or $900 just for the stand to put it on by itself. So I wasn't in the mood to buy that stand, so I created my own, and using ISO acoustic feet, and make the stand, and it's very stable. I actually use two of them because it's so heavy. Each isoacoustic stand can support about 40 to 50 pounds. Since this one is pretty much 80 pounds, so I didn't want to take the risk and put one on, so I used two. So there should be enough sturdiness to support it. So extremely happy with the center speaker with that one. And then for my bedroom home theater, I pretty much completely got rid of all of my Mont Logan speakers. So I enjoyed those speakers for a little bit over 2 years, and they served me really well. But then I had the opportunity to jump onto the Focal bandwagon, so I did, and I couldn't be happier. I've been extremely excited about Focal. They taking over my listening room pretty much. It's just the amount of music that I listen through them, and the clarity of the mid range and the mid bass is just incredible. As to like, it's just hard to explain how clear the mid bass is and the mid range of the Focal. People talk about the beryllium tweeter a lot, but I think the shining part of the Focal is the mid range. When you hear female vocal, when you hear most of the singing coming on, a lot of it is in the mid range, and I've never heard my bedroom sounding that clear before. And I haven't done any treatment yet, but it making me wanting to put in some acoustic paint bedroom. It's hard to do because whenever I'm thinking about doing that, I know my wife will complain about it. Uh, so it's really hard to try to swing it. All
Okay,
right.
so we have
Well,
Matt
we got.
ready.
Go ahead.
So
Sorry.
yeah, you go ahead, Matt. We have you, and you want to do a mic check?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Gotcha.
we got you.
Okay, great. I definitely want to just pile on and sing Folkow's praises along with John Anthony there, man, because the Folkow sound really is good. Mid range and treble both. They knock it out of the park. I give props. John Anthony, I am so happy that you have Folkow in your bedroom, man. It is such a great listening experience.
I appreciate it, Matt.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
All right, so
Matt,
this is
what is the dimensions of your room, and tell us. Obviously, you know, you already told us that you're still working on this. What percentage are you right now with completing the theater and or the showroom, and give us a little bit of history about the room dimensions and everything else.
Oh yeah, certainly. So uh, the room dimensions 17 by 29 by 8.5 or just under 8.5 high. After soundproofing, it's no, I'm sorry, no, those are after soundproofing. So basically the room had a lot of length to work with. So length means you can go with a bigger screen because you can sit further back. So one of the things in this room, so all of like the wall panels are going away. We are bringing in. We just became fabric mate dealers. We will be bringing stretch fabric into this room along with strip lighting from Color Beam. So what we did, like for this show, HT Hub, I took the panels off the left side of the room so you could see what's actually behind the panels on the right side. So
Okay.
Whoa.
this is what is
Wow.
typically so anytime we do a room from start to finish, behind the walls will look something like this. So first we have the screen here. This is the four-way mastering screen from Stewart, the director's choice. This is 13 feet wide. Actually, well, let me go back to kind of try to add a little bit of scale to give an idea of what the room really looks like. Don't mind those wires. I accidentally screwed through some wires, so I had to add some makeshift wires that are hanging down right now because I've been doing a lot of work in this room. So 5 seats in the back. One configuration. A lot of people think that they can't fit 5 seats in their room. You really just have to configure it properly. If you want a rear row main listening position, then all you do is do a love seat on one side, a love seat on the other side, and then have your main listening position in the middle.
Mm.
That
Yeah,
way
that's a
you can
fantastic idea.
choose between those two. Because yeah, there's no reason you should have a compromise. And yeah, so and especially if you have a processor that's like a Trinov or a Storm, where you can have your presets on Anthem as well, then you can have a setting for your front row main listening position, and then have a setting for your rear row listening position as well. So I just want to throw that out here. So these are going from back to front. So from front to back. Sorry, these are the Wisdom Audio L8Is. These are the wide channels. So what we have as far as treatments, these are the acoustic frontiers treatments. So one of the reasons why I went with acoustic frontiers for this room versus Art Novion or Vicoustic is the acoustic frontiers, they give you 12 by 12 panels as opposed to the normal 24 by 24 or larger. So
Okay.
what this does is it lets you get absorption and diffusion more in a smaller area. So instead of layering it, having to have absorption behind and then diffusion on the front, you can have so in that same 24 by 24, because you have 12-inch modules, you have more surface area diffusion and more surface area absorption at the same time. So that's the reason why this is what I put in my highest end rooms. So we have the LAIs for the wides, just relative to the seating
And
position there.
if I'm looking correctly, it looks like you have those wides angled. Am I correct on that? On how
Yes,
you got
yes,
that?
yes. They are angled. They are angled. Built this. This is an MDF cabinet that has an angle toward towards the main listening position. for both rows, because both rows sound they both sound equally great. So those are toe-in. I recommend that for any wide channel. Previously, we had Triad Gold LCRs for our wides in the previous iteration of the showroom theater, but they were facing out because they were too thick to angle inward. But when we did that, we had to really increase the volume for the wides. And again, I mean, wides are not, they're not exactly, very well used in movies, but when they are used, you want to hear them. So this time around we angled it. And these are shallow enough where we could angle them inside the box, all while staying behind the fabric. So this is
Yeah.
actually one of the S90i subwoofers. Like this is all subwoofer. And so the whole reason they do this is for cabinet volume, to maintain a large cabinet volume. So what you get is an output equivalent to a very potent 12-inch subwoofer. So think like a JL Fathom 112 or something like that, like a 12-inch but a very potent 12-inch subwoofer.
So Matt, real quick, could that
yes,
be housed vertical also in the stud bay?
absolutely. Absolutely, it absolutely can, and that's how these are generally installed. These will generally go. The majority of houses that these would go into have 6-inch studs, so it's literally just a matter of sliding into the wall, putting the drywall compound over it, smoothing it over. The face of the actual subwoofer, it's textured in a manner so that this can actually be flush with drywall on either side, and then you just put compound on either side, tape mud it, and then paint it, and it will look seamless.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So there's one over here. There's actually another one that's under there as well, and then we have two more behind the rear row. So this treatment's on the door. Again, all the panels are
And
off, so you're seeing
what
everything.
type of drivers are inside of those? Are they 10 inches, 8 inches? Do you know off the top of your head?
Inside the S90Is,
Yes.
it's hard because they use it's a raceway. It's a raceway driver. Let me see how close I can get. Well, you can't really see very well, but they use it's a raceway driver, and there are two of them. There are two of them in here. So
Okay.
like whatever their mathematics are, they created the cone surface area to be equivalent to a 12-inch sub.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's that. So I mentioned a little earlier how I'm all about LCRs for surrounds. So these are the Sage Cinema Line 2s. Each row has a set of surrounds. So the front row has these. Again, you have more treatments, and these are not haphazardly placed. This is all a product of the acoustic treatment plan that was produced by Niall Milor of Acoustic Frontiers. So we have some bass trapping, and then some diffusion. This wall has much more diffusion up top, and then you have some absorption, and then you have base trapping here. Then you have the rear row side surrounds. Again, also that's also matched on the other side. If you look close, you can see there we have the two Perlison D215Ss that are behind those seats. Here is where we have, so when we have customers come, we have multiple ways to control. This is the control for touch panel. This is the Halo remote, which is an outstanding remote. And then this is the Josh remote, which I think went to sleep. But oh yeah, it's sleeping. All right, so but yeah, the Josh remote, it's the recently released iteration of the Ava remote. It just has Josh loaded. And so basically everything you would use for Josh AI as far as voice, you can use that on the remote. You just hit a button, you give it a command, but it also has some tactile, let's see here, so it actually has a tactile D-pad. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I might have
Oh
unplugged.
yeah, that's
I think I may
usually
have unplugged the charge.
better. So at least you know when you're
Yes.
clicking a button. Yep.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, so that is that's the Sony VPL XW 6000 ES. Again, I've already explained those cables. I screwed through some cables. That's why I had to drop some new ones. So that's all temporary. So Atmos, we are 8 Atmos. Let me move to a place where this might be more visible. So
what
there are 8
I know you said you were running Trinoff. What Trinoff are you running? The Trinoff 40 in this one? Which Trinoff are you running? The 32?
No, it is the 32 plus 4, and I'm using every single channel of the. So basically, I'm using 36 channels in this particular one. Yeah, I'm using all of them.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's so these lights are actually individually addressable. This is lighting over Cat 6, believe it or not. Yeah, so this is lighting over Cat 6. So basically, I can turn each one off individually, and
Nice.
turn each one on individually. So that becomes a big benefit. That becomes a huge benefit. Where, for instance, say everybody wants to watch a movie, but you want to read. Then, if you're sitting in one of these two seats, you would turn on just that light above you and have it set to about 30%, and you have enough light coverage to read while the rest of the room is dark. So being able to actually individual address lights it's a huge benefit. It's what I'm starting to do in my builds now because it lets me control all of the lighting. And when I'm in control, it means I control the results. So I'm not relying on an electrician to come and run Romex and then okay, well, something's wrong. Okay, call the electrician to install this or install the switches. Now everything goes back to a power over Ethernet router or switch in the rack, and then that's something that I control. I loop it into control 4, and then it's something that I'm able to maintain control over. So each of these strips contains Atmos speakers, and they'll be wrapped in black AT fabric. We will also be doing stretch black fabric between each of these Atmos and lighting strips to minimize or eliminate reflections up front. So this screen, the reason why we put this screen in is because there are a lot of questions that come from customers as far as I don't know what size screen to get. I don't know what aspect ratio I want. I don't know what seating distance. So, of course, yes, there are certain standards that exist, but I've said this for years. The standards are a starting point. But yeah, I personally do not want to sit in front of a screen that I think is too small because the standard says it is. So because of this, we try to get the customer as immersed as
Yeah,
possible.
those THX standards for screen size. I mean, I don't think there's very many people adhering to them, and all
No.
the other people that are doing this, installs and stuff. I'm hearing that
Mhm.
even Chris Deering on Tech Enthusiasm talked about how he's
Mhm.
walking into 150-inch from 9 and 10 feet away, 160-inch now. Nobody's following those. I wouldn't say nobody, but the majority of the
Few
people
people.
aren't following that standard anymore.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely the case. Few people really are, and because it's age. The age of immersion is here. Especially you're immersed in audio. Why not video too? So if somebody comes in here and they say, you know what, I don't know if I want 16:9 or 240. Okay, well, I hit a button on the control 4 remote, and then it'll roll up the masking. Okay, here's what 240 looks like. I'll do all this like with content on. Okay, this is what 240 looks like. All right, do you feel immersed? Well, maybe I feel immersed, but maybe it's too much. Maybe my eyes are going ping pong. Okay, do you want to go to 11 feet wide? And then, okay, so now you're maintaining your aspect ratio, but you're going 11 feet wide now. And then if you want to go even smaller, you could do something like a 10-foot wide and then 16:9. Okay, so this is what 16:9 looks like. So playing with all of these things, and then we then there's also the TV mode, I call it, which shrinks everything to a 100-inch TV size. So this lets people decide what exactly they want because these are just presets. But what we end up doing is the seating distance between the front row, between the front row and the screen is 13 and a half feet, 14 if you're reclined. So what we do is we also have a folding chair. If the customer's room will not facilitate a seating distance of at least around 13 feet, then we just bring in the folding chair and then we play around with these sizes and aspect ratios and move the folding chair closer and closer until we figure out what works from a seating position standpoint for that front row. And then once we have the front row location, then we can move to the back row location from that. And now we have seating positions around which we can design the room. So and
That
so
is fantastic. That's a great idea. A great way to showcase different theater sizes. I honestly didn't think about that. I thought I just I knew about the 4-way masking, but on the dealer side of it, it's pretty ingenious to do something like that. To where you're not throwing up masking panels and stuff like that. Trying to just show what they actually have. Because I was just going to install a 16x9 that kind of dropped down in front of my 240 that I have, so just to be able to show the difference. But I mean, this is fantastic what you got going here. I really like that idea.
Oh yeah, appreciate it, man. In your case, I was you can look at the Seymour Proscenium screens, because those, if you only need to just go from one to another, I mean, those are excellent, man. Seymour Screen Excellence is a great manufacturer, as is Stewart. I've done Stewart screens, I've done Seymour screens. I mean, they're all excellent.
Yeah,
It's just,
I'm a dealer for Seymour. I'm
yeah,
not a dealer for Stewart. I haven't tried to pursue it, but I was going to purchase, just because I purchased my Stewart screen through you, and
that's right.
I was gonna just order the drop down through Stewart, just so that I have the two different screens to show off. So,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
since I'm not a dealer, obviously, of something, I always send people your way for stuff that I'm not selling. So,
Oh yeah, yep, which I definitely appreciate. Definitely, man. Yeah. So yeah, and if you do the drop down, but and it was something also to consider too, is that since you're already a Seymour dealer, Seymour, they have drop down materials too, but they also have some solid materials as well. So if you're not doing an 18, I don't think you're doing the horizontal center, right?
it's no, I have the three of the same speakers. So
Okay, so yeah, you would have to go with the AT. Okay,
yep.
okay, copy that. So yeah, so the final thing is all these strips. The strip design is going to be changing completely. Like I mentioned, the panels all getting thrown away or sold in exchange for doing the actual fabric track walls. So in addition to that, in addition to those fabric track walls, there'll be a very, a nice lighting design. So the room and actual wall design will definitely be different. Maybe not drastically so, but there will definitely be a difference in this. So yeah, if I have people come, so this is Color Beam lighting, Color Beam USA lighting that we have coming in. The PoE lighting, Power over Ethernet lighting, is from Poet. Poet Lighting. They're actually a full-blown networking company. They were started by the same people who started Pack Edge, which is a networking company. So they started Poet. It really works. It's fully you're fully tunable, dimmable down to 5%, I believe. So yeah, this is something that's really cool. So if you have, and listen, if you have people, Don, I appreciate you sending folks my way. When people come to me looking for something I don't carry and you carry, man, I will send them your way too. Listen, and I appreciate what you're doing in this industry, Don. I really do.
Yeah, there's enough space for all of us, right?
Exactly.
As I mentioned to you before, I'm not
That
doing this for a living. So go ahead, Paul.
the lighting, the PoE lighting, is that compatible with any PoE switch? Like if you had Unify or Ubiquity type of.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes. So even though Poet makes their own switches, it is compatible with any PoE switch.
Okay, cool. But you would have to have their controller, obviously. But that would that's pretty cool.
Yes, and it's a small driver, maybe 2 inches by 3 inches. So the a cat cable would go from the switch to the driver, the 2x3 driver, and then from the driver it goes to a OEM manufacturer. It's manufactured by Poet, a special 4-way splitter, and the 4-way splitter, it allows it. So basically, one Cat 6 run. As a matter of fact, you can see it here. Well, here I have two. I have one Cat 6 run for Josh AI, which is going in the middle of that. And then I have another Cat 6 run for the lighting. One Cat 6 cable can power 4 lights with their technology, which is really, really neat. So if you see here, I had standard electrical cans before, 3-inch cans. It's been cut, pulled out, coiled up. I'll probably be repurposing it for something else electrical in the future. But for right now, the eventual plan is to just completely pull it out. for right now, because just being able to address individual lights or even just rows of lighting has been very, very helpful. Sometimes even if it's just my wife and I, so say, just outside of the business, if we're just talking about regular family use, my wife and I are watching a movie. We might want to see our food, but we don't want light glare on the screen. We'll just have the back row of lights on, set to 30 or 40%. It's enough illumination to see what we're eating without putting a significant amount of screen wash on the screen itself while we're watching content. So it really is a game changer, being able to control each row or each individual light depending on your use case. Just it's really a game changer.
And easily, because I mean,
Yes,
you get some Plenum Cat 5 is a lot cheaper than an electrician.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
Matt, where is this room in your house? Is it in the basement? Is it on the main floor? Where is it located at?
Oh, it's in the basement. Yep, it is in the basement, fully soundproof, triple layers of drywall with green glue in between on clips and channel all the way around. That wall has the HVAC and water heater and furnace behind it, so that has 3 layers of drywall and clips and channel in the front, and it has 3 layers of drywall and green glue on the back as well. But the end result is you don't hear anything with the water heater, blower, or the furnace running or anything. You can't tell when the HVAC kicks on or off.
So Matt, you have your gear housed in a separate area, right? In a separate rack,
Yes.
or okay. So
Yes,
everything
it's
is
a separate rack. Yeah, it's in a dedicated rack room, which is exactly right in there.
okay. Okay. And then you're running the trin off. You said it's the 32 plus 4, right? So that's the expansion. That did you have to purchase an extra DAC with that?
Yes, so actually, let me give a run through. So let me see, because keeping in mind that this rack room is also my office, and I'm running a business out of it. It is not in the cleanest of states, but that's the Trinov Altitude 32. These are the two Amplitude 16s. Then beneath, near the bottom, this is where I have the two DACs that are handling the +4 capability. So each DAC handles 2 channels.
Okay.
And then here we have the Mad VR, and then we have the Arvolution down here, which I have yet to watch a full movie on. Dan, I have to call you about the Arvolution. I'm a dealer for them, and I have to call you. You and I have to talk about this. I know you're a pro with the setups. I know you've been as a PD user for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely want to chat with you about setting up some things.
Yeah, well, definitely. We can get together offline for that. So
Right, awesome.
the prior to that, Matt, you had an interesting system when I went there, and I
Yes.
believe it was to it was to add more channels. Can you? I think you still had a piece of that system in your rack there. That QSC, is that what it was, or QCS system?
So the QSC, so that is the amplifier that is powering the 4 Wisdom S90i subwoofers.
Okay.
So yeah, because that's it's a 4 channel amp, and the S90i subwoofers they're extremely sensitive. So that amp is powering 4 of them. Before that though, so before getting the Trinov, I had the Anthem AVM 60 running through the QSC QSys DSP. It was the Core 250i plus an IO extender, and I was using those to basically send a duplicate signal to the 2 rear surrounds. I was also using it for like PEQ, and I had all my bass curves in it. Everything, or almost everything that I'm doing in the Trinov now, as far as manual input, I was doing in the QSC QSys DSP before. But it's nice to have everything just in one place with the Trinov. But the QSC QSys it's an outstanding ecosystem. I mean, I recommend it to anybody, and it can even work in conjunction with the Trinov as well. So we do sell QSys, QSC systems. So it's just something, if anybody is interested in going the QSys route, that's something that we can help with. We lived with it for 5 years, and it's a very powerful system.
That's what a lot of commercial businesses like
Yes.
Darden uses that, I think.
Mhm.
A lot of big. So that's the audio stuff that I used to do back in the day for, not home theater stuff, but more of commercial places. Like they're not even worrying about stereo, you know.
Oh no, oh no,
Yeah,
oh no. And
but they
Fusus has
have a
evolved. I mean, Fusus
lot
does
of
cameras now.
control. Yeah, they have a
Hmm.
lot of control. So
Yeah, yeah, they
So,
absolutely do. They
question,
put a
Matt,
ton of resources.
on your Atmos speakers, are they also Wisdom, or is that like an angle? Are there? I see there's like a cylinder or a round speaker. Are they?
Yes. So yeah, they are angled. These are the ICS 7As from Wisdom. So these are all angled towards the main listening position, which is designated in this room to be the front row. So these are also this waveguide provides a little better dispersion. It's hard to see, but it's actually removable. If you see that waveguide that surrounds the planar magnetic driver tweeter that is in the line source, I should say, that's inside the ICS 7A speaker. But yes, so
Okay.
we have 8 of these in the ceiling, and actually, if you look closely, you can see the triple layers of drywall that I had to cut through to actually make all this happen. So those are the triple layers that are sitting on attached to the channel,
jack. Yeah.
and then so that's the hat channel there, which is hanging. Here we added blocking between joists so that the hat channel didn't have to sit fully below the joist because we were limited in room height. So we actually added blocking and then attached the clips and hat channel. So it's only coming down maybe about an inch below the joist versus before it would have been a solid 1.5 to 1.75 inches below. So yeah, so the triple layers of drywall are all attached to that type of channel all the way around. So that's generally that's how we used to build rooms until we discovered the kinetics with the spring. So now for the ceiling, we use the spring system, which similar concept. We still space it so that the hat channel sits just beneath where the joist would be. That way, when you attach the drywall, it's still decoupled from the actual joist itself. But yeah, so even we use the spring system now, but it's still same result as far as distance of the drywall from the joist, so you maintain that gap. So if you look
Well,
closely, they're not touching at
I
all.
appreciate you taking your panels down, and I appreciate you cutting through your ceiling for us today.
I know, right?
Yeah, you're very welcome, man. Very, very
I
welcome.
mean, look, I can't wait to get back up to visit my mom, and then also, I obviously gotta come by and listen to this system.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
If I gotta pay admission, I will.
No, not at all.
But yeah,
So,
no,
so
Not
the
at all,
choice,
man.
the choice of the carpet, who picked it out? You or the wife?
So it was both of us. We went to a carpet shop, and we looked at some samples. We looked at I think it was maybe 5 or 6. We already knew the general color that we wanted to go with, and so the phone is not really representing the color well. I'm looking through the phone; it looks almost like a tan brown,
Yeah.
but in person, it's actually a dark gray.
okay.
So
Okay.
so it's a dark gray, but I see the phone is making it look like a tannish brown. What's also probably adding to that is just the hue that I have the light set to right now is a warmer hue. It's set to 3,000 Kelvin, so
Yeah.
that's the phone is picking all that up, and then what you guys are seeing is like a tannish brown. But no, this is definitely it's a dark it's a deep gray.
So, Matt, first you brought up Josh. You brought that up a couple of times. Can you
Yes.
just give us a brief description for people that don't know what Josh AI is? And if there's some way that you can, I don't, I know I'm putting you on the spot here because I know your remote's dead, but I don't know if there's a way that you can demo something with Josh if you're able to.
So I couldn't right now, only because I had the micro. I actually took it out of the room for a reason. I'm trying something, and so
Okay.
I'm sad that this died because I took it out of the room to see if customers, when they come, if they would rather use the remote to speak through the remote, or if they would like to use the actual Josh module.
Okay. Yeah,
So
no
that is
problem.
something that yeah. So you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm going to try something here. Give me 1 second.
So
Screen's
while
going
you're
to go
doing
black
that,
for about 10
tell
seconds.
us what Josh is. Tell us what Josh is and what it does, and for those of us that aren't familiar with it.
So Josh today is very different from Josh a few years ago. Josh is a full-blown automation system now. But it is largely we're still rooted in voice control. All right, so I was able to wake it up. It's rooted in voice control. So, but it can control basically any IP device that you have. As a matter of fact, it would be pretty cool to juxtapose the Josh remote next to the Control 4 Halo remote. So the initial iteration, as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you because with my 2-channel rooms, I actually sell this version of what's called the Ava remote. So the Ava remote, which is what that Josh remote is based on, it has no buttons. It's all touchscreen. But what I do is for my 2-channel rooms, I sell this remote with it, and then the customer will walk into their room, select the Rune app, because it runs any native Android app. So the Rune will find the endpoints, and then they can just start playing from their library. So Koba, oh yeah, I just signed up for Koba's, guys. So all right, so that's the original Josh Josh on the Ava remote. This iteration is a little different because looks like this has died again.
Yeah.
Josh, we got to. All right, so maybe it just had low battery.
Yeah. It's all
Yeah.
good.
So all right, so well, I was going to demo the voice control, turning it on, but yeah, I'm not sure why it's not functioning properly.
No problem.
So, but yes. I can try to reboot it one time because I really do want to show it. It's a great piece.
So, to put it lightly, Josh is the A word, the A lady on steroids.
Yeah.
That is actually the most perfect description I've heard. But in addition to that, it's also a fully blown automation system. Like I can control things with Josh that Control 4 might have some issues controlling.
Okay.
So, all right, I got to boot up again. So here, I'm going to tap this. And I'm going to tell Josh that I want to play Kaleidoscape. Okay, this remote has just failed. It gets thrown.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. It's okay. You probably
It's no problem.
Get the
Yeah, I
charge.
mean, we know you're working in your theater, and you're doing all kind of stuff still. So,
Yes.
I mean, Matt actually has a video on his channel for Josh AI, right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah, definitely. It's Control 4 and Josh AI.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
go ahead over to Brolic Media and check that out. He does go through it. I know I don't know if I've seen what it was probably a year or so ago when you got all that set up. Is that correct, Matt?
Yeah, I would say no, actually, probably about a year and a half.
Okay.
A year and a half, possibly even 2 years. We've definitely had it for a while, and we do install Josh. Usually, it's the Josh Micros and the Josh Nano and the Josh Micros. We put those in along with the Josh Cores. The Josh Cores are the brains. They are definitely the brains of everything. So because you require the Josh Core in order to get a Josh response through your system, through your speakers. You have to have the Josh Core because the Josh Core actually has the AV outputs that will send that verbal response to your audio distribution system. And then whether you're using like an Anthem MDX16 or an Audio Control Director M6800, those are my two favorite audio distribution amplifiers. And then so you put the output from the Josh Core into the audio distribution amplifiers, and then you designate a room. So however you have your audio distribution segmented in your control system, it will be segmented that way when you do your Josh setup, so that if you say you have a Josh unit in your family room and then you have a Josh unit in your kitchen, if you speak to Josh in your kitchen, it will respond to you through the speakers in your kitchen. If you do the same thing in your family room, it has a proximity detector where it can tell which microphone you're closer to, and then it will respond in that room.
So there's a question. Does it work with Google Voice?
No.
Okay.
No. It is its own platform.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it is its own platform. Yeah,
We
definitely.
also
So,
have another question from the same person that asked, does it have what's the cost difference between 3 layers of drywall and doing the spring and clips? Is there a major difference in cost when doing that?
so meaning doing 3 layers of drywall directly to studs versus using clips and channel.
Correct.
There's definitely a cost difference, and it's pretty significant. Only because you have to buy steel for the clips and the channel. But off the top of my head, depending on room size, you're probably looking at maybe an extra couple thousand in materials, maybe 2,500 ish in materials for like an average size room, if
Okay.
you're doing the clips and channel versus just the drywall. But it makes all the difference in the world.
And you're still putting 2 layers of drywall up on those clips, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're only
Yeah.
saving the square footage of drywall, so which is about $12 for a 4x8 sheet of 5/8 right now. So
hmm
there's not a significant difference as far as how much drywall material you're going to use. Just the fact, like you said, you're adding the steel, the springs, the hat channel, maybe blocking like you talked about, to
hmm
add extra support. So yeah. So with getting back to Josh AI, um, is this? I know now they have the remote, but is it mainly used for voice commands, or is it now kind of switched to more of like a integrating with the Control 4?
Oh, so there is no official integration with the Josh remote. So I want to make sure I say this properly, because Josh and Control 4 do integrate, but there's also something going on between the two companies as well. So, but it does integrate. Like Control 4, here's what I'll say. Josh can absolutely control your Control 4 devices. Specifically, the Josh remotes are not supposed to inherently, and that's just due to something going on between the two between Josh and Control 4. But as far as Josh being able to control your automation system, absolutely. You issue your commands, you add your Josh devices in Composer, and then it will control everything. As long as there's a little tag when you're integrating it, you add a device tag from Control 4 into the Josh ecosystem, and then you have control. And it works so well that, for instance, there's a room we have just in our house where there's a Samsung TV, and for some reason, whatever the reason is, it will not respond to Control 4 off commands, but it will respond to the Josh off command.
Okay.
So it's something interesting that we've discovered. It's definitely anomalous. It's definitely not every situation, but the fact that even happens just shows like how powerful Josh is, just as a control system itself. And in some houses, Josh can be the only control system. They've just released their own touch panels. They already have the Josh remotes. So they have the Josh Core. So the Josh Core is a brain similar to a Control 4 controller. So it
Okay.
is definitely a fully blown automation system, like far
Yeah, because
beyond just
that was
voice.
going to be my next question. Can you have one without the other? Obviously,
Yeah.
we can have Control 4 without Josh, but can you have Josh
Mhm.
without Control 4?
Yes, you can. Yeah, you absolutely can.
Very
You
good.
absolutely can. Yeah, it integrates. And in some ways, its integration is better than Control 4's. And the big reason for that is, I'm trying to figure out the best way to frame this. So deep linking, the Josh can interact with, for instance, it can deep link with Kaleidoscape on the Control 4 remote. If I hit the microphone button, I can't speak to Kaleidoscape and say what movie I want to play. Whereas with the Josh system, I can. So
Okay.
it had deep links into Kaleidoscape. Now it deep links into Apple TV. It's always deep linked into Roku, etc. But but yeah, so it's definitely it's a powerful control system.
Hey, Matt,
Wow.
let's not keep you standing, right? So if you're done showing, you can just go back to your seat so you're not just standing out there while we continue.
Okay.
Except if
Okay. So
Don
yeah.
has other questions he wants to ask with regards to the theater, but I didn't just want you standing and holding
All
up.
right. So
No.
yeah.
I mean, the theater looks phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't get enough of looking at it. But it's I love what you've done with the 12x12 panels and the reason why you went 12x12 versus 2x4. Just fantastic. But yeah, no, if you want to head back in and we'll probably be wrapping up here just soon anyway, just to see if anybody has any further questions in the chat for you. And then I also want you to give your socials and everything else on how everybody can reach you.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
definitely. Yeah, I'm transitioning over right now or in the
Sounds
next couple
good.
of minutes.
Yep. Man,
Man.
I've learned so much this evening. It's not even funny.
Pretty amazing, huh?
What was it? So somebody in the comments said Matt is taking him to school tonight.
I
So
know, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's look. Matt is always a pleasure to talk to. I mean, Matt wakes up extremely early and starts working out. And him and I used to get up like 3:30, 4 in the morning for my other business, and him and I'd be talking home theater and in between sets, that he was doing there. But yeah, we would constantly be talking home theater back and forth. Just a fantastic asset to this space. Just the amount of knowledge that Matt has. Makes me want to shut my business down. I'm like, just go to Matt.
Hopefully you don't
So
shut your home theater down.
no, not gonna do that. Definitely not gonna do that. That's always been a lifelong dream of mine to build a home theater in my home. You know, who knows? Maybe it'll get done one day before I decide to leave this earth, and I get to at least enjoy one day of it.
Yeah, you gotta open it first in order to shut it down. At least once, one viewing, and then you
Hey,
can
I'm
shut
gonna
it
have
down.
a grand opening and a grand closing all in one day. No.
No. Let's not have those
Grand
conversations.
opening. Yeah.
Let's not have those conversations. But yeah.
So Matt, definitely appreciate you joining us tonight. A lot of people
Oh,
in the
that's right.
comments definitely saying you're taking us to school here. So we appreciate all the knowledge that you've given to us today, and hopefully
Oh, definitely.
this will help some people make some buying decisions, and in doing so, by all means, reach out to Matt. Matt, how can they reach out to you?
Oh, so on social, it's blair.high.performance for Instagram. For Facebook, it's Blair High Performance Solutions. On YouTube, it's Brolic Media. I'm averaging 2 to 3 videos a year. It used to be 1 to 2 videos a week, but just life gets busy. So yeah, 2 to 3 videos a year, but there's still a ton of videos on there. Probably have maybe I'm sure it's over 100 by now. Videos that are uploaded. So just all on home theater content as well. So yeah, and on LinkedIn, Matthew Blair.
Yeah, I like I said, I really appreciate you joining us tonight. Just looking through the chat to see if there's any other questions here
Yeah,
that we may have skipped over.
I think we answered all the questions I started. So
Perfect.
yep.
Well, Matt, I definitely appreciate you. Paul, John, Anthony, Chuck, any questions for Matt before we leave?
No, I'm
No,
good.
Nah,
I
Oh.
enjoyed
we
the
gotta go
tour.
digest the lecture, man.
Yeah, I know. I was geeking out, you know. I was like, man, I hope everyone else didn't fall asleep to all this tech talk.
So Matt, stay on. We'll just hang out in the green room for like just a second or so afterwards. But want to thank everybody for joining tonight. If you haven't subscribed to Matt's channel, Brolic Media, if you haven't subscribed to Easy HT Tech, if you haven't subscribed to Horizon Home Theater, if you haven't subscribed to Positron Hi-Fi, make sure that you guys go ahead and give us a subscribe. We definitely appreciate the support. Um, we have had some submissions for home theater through the email, which is HTH Hub, what is it? Home Theater Hub at gmail.com. So we had some submissions. We're going to be getting back to you guys very shortly on getting those scheduled. If you would like to join us and show off your theater and talk about what gear you got or why you made those choices on your gear, definitely would love to have you on the show. Doesn't have to be a full out wisdom audio with 38 channels. We enjoy everything, whether it's a 5.1, whether it's a 2-channel system. We enjoy everything. So whatever
And
you
weather is
enjoy,
still
we
under
enjoy.
construction to
Yep.
come along, and we'll walk with you through the journey. So
What we're gonna
So,
have
yeah,
Chuck to start doing is installing theater framing instead. He could throw that stuff up really quick.
I got to get Chuck to help me out with that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, thank you everyone for joining again. Appreciate it. Next week we have Michael on to talk about M-Wave and what he's got going on, Youth Man. So please join us with that. As mentioned, I may join, but that's just because I'm not here doesn't mean you shouldn't join these guys. I mean, I'm
Shoot,
looking
we might
forward to
get
see.
more people to join.
Exactly, because I don't contribute very much. That's what I was going to say. Everybody will join now that I'm not here. So appreciate everybody again.
and
Have a great night.
thank you to Mrs. Blair
night,
for
everybody.
joining us too. So,
Absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely.
thank you, honey.
thank you.
For
Okay,
sure.
so thank you everyone. We'll see you on the next live stream next week. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.